I've made a terrible mistake. Hope you enjoy. What's up folks, today we got a special video of me finding new hills to die on. As yes, I'm gonna try and rank every ship in My Hero Academia. That's right, all of them that matter, which is still over 200 ships. I tried to find all the ones that seem semi-plausible or popular, and I'm about to risk so many copyright claims by using My Hero footage. But I do it for you guys, as the alternative is me just being on camera for 3 hours, and I'm not sure anybody wants... Yeah, hi. Welcome back to the show. Ignore what I just said. You should be watching this, and you should want to watch more, like, share, and subscribe. But yes, My Hero Academia, the show that I honestly loved so much. And now it's ending, so I might as well talk about all the ships. As there is, frankly, too many characters in this show. There are so, like, Class 1A, the teachers, Class B, the villains, civilians, the parents, everyone that's in the past. It is such an insanely large cast that it should be no surprise that there is as many ships as there are, and I found so many. And to be clear, like, look at this shit. Keep it going, keep it going. Yeah, this is everyone that I found. And my process for picking these guys is pretty basic. I went on the shipping wiki, okay, what's an option here? I picked it. If it has like a little bit of text to it, I'll be like, okay, it goes in. As technically, you can take one character and pair them with everyone, no questions asked. But this is a case of like, I have to semi-restrain myself or this video would just never end. So, basically found what I could, shipping wiki. If it's there, it made it, mostly. I added a few things. Okay, I feel like that is pretty shippable. Some stuff that I found fan art of, like, okay, yeah, that goes in as well. Then other stuff that gets included just by the fact that it's there, not the fact that it's actually shippable. So, let's talk about them. And first we have to talk about the tiers. First off, what am I saying? I'm losing my mouth sometimes and we just started. First off, top tier. The best. No explanation needed. This is everything that you love, this is what you aspire to, this is what you want in your life, and if you don't, you know this is the thing of your dreams. It is top tier. Next after that, we have all right. And I don't mean like all right, I mean all right. As, yeah, I need a pun for the second one, and All Might's right there, so there goes. All right is basically, it is good. It is basically great, but it's not my personal favorite. It is not amazing, but it is so unbelievably solid that it is universally, personally agreed that it is above everyone else. Some of these will be stuff that I'm like, oh, I love it so much, but I feel like can't really justify it with everyone else, as top tier should be its own weight class. So if it can't get into there with all the cool kids, it goes in all right. Then below that, we have 7 out of 10.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Now, 7 out of 10 is the polite person's answer to all their questions where you don't really want to offend anyone. And in this case, it's like, oh no, it's good. I don't think it's like amazing, but for as far as ships go, I can either appreciate what it's doing, see why other people would like it, and I genuinely would agree that it is in fact good. So 7 out of 10, there is no dishonor here. This is on the positive side of things, unambiguously. Unlike the next one, which is See the Vision.
You could be onto something.
See the Vision is basically me saying, hi, I see why you like it, but it's not a full condemnation. I'm not saying this is bad or giving polite. Okay, sometimes I am just politely agreeing because I know my real take would get me killed. So, See the Vision is essentially for just middle of the pack. It's not bad. I think it's kind of on the goodish side, but it is like, okay, this does not inspire interest, essentially. I can see why others would like it. I'm just here like, speak your truth. But after that, we have Not For Me, which is like See the Vision, but bad.
Oh, no, thanks, I'm good.
Not For Me is where I can fully agree that, yeah, other people can enjoy this, but I'm like, I'll pass. It's not really something I'm gonna get invested in, but I'm also not gonna like get invested in hating it either. If this is one of your favorites, it's totally fine. That's fully valid. I am not doing a full, you're wrong for thinking this. This is just, we're gonna agree to disagree, then we move on. After that though, we have, nah bro, no. Not even in a million years are we going to agree to this.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Nah bro is essentially, I'm gonna have to say something. I'm going to have to give a take, as I cannot just let it fully slide. I'm gonna have to give a little bit of side eye here. Still not the worst, but it's not good for me either. This is like, okay, I am judging just a wee bit. But it's just a wee bit. I'm judging, but it's not anything to get mad about. It is not, I'm not gonna be sending any comments. I'm just sitting here telling a friend who I know and won't be on public Twitter saying, okay, this is a little bit much. Then we have FBI, open up! And this list is essentially just here for all the fucking children X adult ships here. There are so many. This is so many in the wiki. It is Deku and All Might. I don't mean this in the parental way, but it's there. They're popular characters. Process of elimination. It exists. It is exactly, this is just for all the shit I know I can't talk about. Unlike Bottom of the Barrel, where I will be talking a lot of shit.
I hate it.
Bottom of the Barrel is again like top tier. It's self-explanatory. You know this is the worst. It deserves to be here. I'll explain why. And if one of your favorites are here, my opinion. Okay?
My opinion?
Now yours, you know, this is the whole thing. It's fictional. None of these takes actually matter. We have so much real world shit going on right now that I just want to have a little fun talking about fictional relationships, and not even canon ones, the ones that we the fans look at and say, yeah, that'd be cute. And if we have to argue about it, I am fully just going to dip, as it would be a waste of effort to talk about it without monetization. But those are all the tiers, and that means it's time to begin. And where better to begin than FBI, open up! Bakugo and Miro. Hold on, I have to double check that I didn't fuck up that name. Miro, though, I am pretty sure I'm saying that right. And I'm just gonna say a lot of shit wrong because I read most of this ship in the manga, and some of those pronunciations just stuck with me even though I have seen the anime, a lot of it. But Miro and Bakugo, it's one of those ships where I understand why it's as prevalent as it is. Popularity. There are a lot of relationships that you see that are being shipped fictionally that's just, okay, one character's popular, these other characters popular, and just that pure spirit of there being so many people who like it, it is inevitable that the Venn diagram is going to merge, creating some overlap where people are like, yeah, we need this to happen. And these two, it is a case of a ship that people, take out the romantic overtones, people just wanted to see these two just interact because they are very similar people. They're both loudmouth fighters who yell so much. So seeing them interact is kind of like, no, yeah, this would be something that you get like a tidbit of. You see like, oh, it's a bit of fan service. It's not something that you're gonna hyper focus on, but it's like, yeah, there's a similarity in a possible vibe here, and just they might be fun to interact together, not just these two full on adult. No matter how much the animators try and buff up Bakugo, he is still a child, so FBI open up it is. Keeping it there. If these two were the same age, I can see this being a 7 out of 10, maybe an alright, but they're not. And I promise you it won't be just FBI open up for most of these. There is actually a lot of ships that we can work with and talk about. And we will be moving on to... Okay, this one I put in just for myself because it's Bakugo x Deku's Luigi. This... Oh my god, I always get Shindo and Shinzo confused, but Deku, but worse over here, is he exists, he does earthquake powers, but he essentially is just a copycat, and that just always makes it so funny to me just to imagine Bakugo hooking up with this guy. To just have the fact of like, that constant sense of you going like, so you're dating this guy, he looks like somebody, don't you think? And just have the constant like ignorance of the fact that this is so clearly, this dude is like the basically Bakugo's rebound after Deku decides to settle down with a chick.
Because I know, somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
He didn't take it well, hooked up with the closest lookalike that he could find, and that's how this would happen. It is weird, this Deku but worse is just here, but it's a fun idea just for that pure comedy sense. It is very much a bit of a sitcom situation. So I'm gonna put this in See the Vision. Because again, it's fun, kinda looks like Deku, and you can draw so many conclusions from that purely on how Bakugo would be acting in this one. Maybe he realizes there's other things he likes. Maybe he just realizes he needs to go get his man back. I am honestly curious enough to see how it goes from there to put it as high as this is. But next we have Bakugo x Monoma. God, I hope I'm saying some of these names right. Bakugo x Monoma is very funny to me, just purely because this dude, Monoma, is just the fucking worst in the best way possible. He is so perfectly a douche that having him go up against Bakugo is always hilarious to me. Bakugo, yeah, he's a bully who kind of realized maybe telling people to off themselves wasn't the best way to behave. He has learned lessons. And Monoma, by contrast, he hates Bakugo. And when that tournament arc first started, I hated him too. So he was a breath of fresh air and just, hey, this guy's a prick. Let these two be pricks and hate each other, and it would be so funny. Honestly, when it comes to relationships, Monoma is realizing, okay, I can be something better. I don't have to hate this guy. They can lean into like full just rival romances, or just have it be comedic, and Bakugo just keeps not recognizing that this guy is a threat in any sense of the word. Goku x Vegeta, this is not. This is closer to fucking Vegeta x Tien. And not the abridged one, which actually would be funny. This is canonical show, no fucks given. And I kind of want to put this higher-ish, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you know what? 7 out of 10. I enjoy the concept. I like both of these characters currently, and I would love to see more of them interacting just in general. So yeah, I like it. I can enjoy this. It would be fun as we got the guy trying to be classy, even though he knows he is a support character, trying to hang with the big dog. and that could just make for some good entertainment. Now, next up we have Todoroki x Momo. You know, this is hard for me because I want to know if I should just put it where I know it belongs or just try and bury the lead. Sorry, let me take a big sip before I make this stretch. Or no. Speak my truth. I'm putting this in nah, bro. Actually, fuck that. Bottom of the barrel out of sheer spite. Okay, this is my beef with these two together. They are so unbelievably boring to me. It's fine if you like it. The show, this is one of those couples that the show is leaning towards, but it is so fucking boring and based on so goddamn little. Like, essentially what ends up happening for these two is that they end up feeling just like the rich bitches. And that's not even the fun part. Take out the bitches. They are just the rich kids who just kind of end up together. Momo is fine on her own. She is entertaining. She is enjoyable. Todoroki has all his different shit going on. But outside the one time like Todoroki and Momo work together to fight Aizawa, Todoroki's saying, oh yeah, I believed in you. I was the only other kid to vote for. I'm just like, okay. That's clearly they're gonna do something, but is there anything else here? Oh my god, like there is so little here when it comes to these two. This is what drives me crazy. I am totally fine just shipping characters based on nothing but vibes. It is 98% of what I do. However, when it feels like the actual show is doing the exact same thing with so little justification, then I'm like, no, you gotta do a little bit more than this. They straight up just feel like it's expected. They're both from good families. They both have money, and it's so unbelievably boring. Not the worst, but for me personally, that it just not giving me anything, and the fact that it is gonna be fucking canon just has me say, yeah, no, fuck it. This is bottom of the barrel as it gives me nothing. I don't care if there's one or two scenes of them looking at each other, being worried for each other. Nothing about them sticks other than the idea of the two more quiet and mature kids. It just fits. Natural. It exists. Whatever. Moving on to a joke pairing, Todoroki x Zuko.
That's rough, buddy.
Now, fun fact, the creator of My Hero Academia has never apparently seen Avatar. He's been asked, like, is Todoroki inspired by Zuko? And every time he has said no. At least I think that's what I remember reading. But this, it's really fucking funny because it both deals with people with fire powers, with complicated relationships to their fathers, massive scars that were due to parental issues. So it is kind of like, okay, there is a bit of overlap. They both have a collective obsession with proving something. Zuko, it's honor. Todoroki, it was initially winning with only his eyesight to spite his father. So there's opposites here, and it's just here as a gag pairing. This is one of those relationships that I think I can enjoy. It is just a fun thing to just stumble across. It is one of those relationships that's like, okay, this is born in fandom, it is crack, and I enjoy that. I think that a good crack ship, just it showing up is always just a little bit of a delight to my day, provided that it's actually legal. So for these two, Zuko is going and see the vision. They have two good eyes between them, and they are both rocking the fuck out of both their looks. All right, next up we have Todoroki x Shinzo. Called it, got the name right, thank God. Whew, I was worried for a half second there. But Shinzo and Todoroki, I actually really enjoy them, just the concept of them together. Deku gets the sexier big moment of like, oh, beats Shinzo, has this whole thing about, oh yeah, I also felt worthless at some point. Moves on. Shinzo is just not in the story for the longest time. But for Todoroki and Shinzo, I do like it because it is a combination of opposites, where Shinzo has basically the world's most obvious villain power when he is not a villain. You then have Todoroki, who is basically given everything. He is born into this great quirk that he is allowed to, like, everyone's like, okay, you are gonna be such a great hero. Everyone's like, oh, you might become a villain later, Shinzo. That's a lot. You could just do anything. We better not talk to you.
Everyone makes judgments based on race.
So the idea of these two having these radically different, like, origin stories makes the idea of them interacting very interesting to me. It is a case again where it is like dating like. They're both more quiet, introverted. One is more proper, the other one looks tired and is the diet Aizawa everyone has kind of been waiting for. So Todoroki and Shinzo, I enjoy it as a concept. I don't really have a lot of great like lore rationale for this one, but I do enjoy the idea. They are alike in a way, and I'm doing this now purely again to spite Momo fans, ex-Todoroki, the two fans. Sorry, did that come off as saying there's only two fans? No, I mean the ship itself, the boring one. But yeah, Shinzo x Todoroki. I'll be nice and say see the vision. I like it. There's a great fan fiction to be written about them. I think the art was gonna be really good, but it's not something like, damn, I need that. All right, moving on, we have, Todoroki x his brother Dabi. Or Toya. God, I feel like there's gonna be some spoilers for this. Oh yeah, there is gonna be spoilers in this video.
What'd y'all expect?
I have so many characters, and we of course have to talk about why they exist and who they are, so some information is going to be let out. So for this one, Todoroki x his brother. Give a pause for the incest fans to do what they do. And okay, these two essentially, now again, this is a relationship that I would like to see more of, despite what we got in the series being good, solid enough. The Todoroki family is like the one thing that stays consistently great throughout the series, minus some bits with the mom, but we'll talk about that when it's relevant. Dabi and Todoroki. I think the two of them, it's not something that I'm crazy about. I know there's definitely so many slash fictions for this one where they just like want to dig into many of the angles, whatever fucked up fan art exists where it is explicit. Both have the story of them being just abused by their dads. Nothing going well.
Did I just catch you having fun?
But I think the thing that holds me back is that I kind of don't like Dabi's full backstory and how it's executed. It's like, this isn't like, oh my god, these two it's like, okay, I like the familial story of what they have done, but if you're trying to pitch them to me as, okay, this is the fan couple I need to exert energy on, I'm just like, I mean, you do you. This is not for me. Also, I'm pretty sure Toya's an adult, but he's not clearly in his 30s like most of these other characters, so we're not gonna do full FBI open up. It is what it is. Next up, we have Todoroki x Inasa. Now these two, I wanted this guy to be bigger in the series so much than he actually ended up being. As when he showed up, he was so fucking cool. Just the wind powers, the grudge against Todoroki's dad, because everyone has to fucking hate Endeavor, because thank God they do. But Inasa is very fun. He shows up. He is this loud, boisterous character. He's giving Todo, but not nearly as far on the spectrum. He is fun, he is loud, he is aggressive, and he is very funny when put together with Todoroki's so princely, controlled, and just flat affect. They are both running on two very different ways they interact. I could see Inasa being like the Bakugo to Todoroki's Deku, but I feel like it's more interesting than that, where it is not fully self-destructive, but it leads them astray. They both struggle with issues like getting too hyper-focused on certain influences to the detriment of who they are as people. They're not fully conjoined, but I can definitely see them being very interesting in just how they interact and making it just a fun, okay, loud golden retriever boyfriend, quiet cat boyfriend who can blow up when pushed.
Give me your best shot!
I think for these two, I can do, I feel like I'm gonna do a lot of see the visions here, but I'm gonna do 7 out of 10 just so I can have a little bit of a skew. All right, next up we have Todoroki x Sero. Pause to let me remember who this guy is, or more accurately, the one time they truly interacted, which was at the fight where Sero almost gets Todoroki, then he gets beaten, because Todoroki was having an off day and he just let off some steam. Now I like Sero as a character. He has a very fun design. Todoroki again, princely, quiet, reserved, boring. That is another one of my hot takes. I love the Todoroki family drama. Todoroki as a person, he's just there. I think I quoted in one of my other videos that Todoroki, that Todoroki's whole purpose is to shut up till his family shows up again, as that's the only time he is doing anything great, which I think I still stand by that, as he is that new age rival of the quiet, reserved, where he's not like the asshole, he's not Vegeta coded like so many others. He's kind of like from Black Clover, where there's clearly this new archetype being built. And when it comes to that dating Sero, it's fine. It's not giving me anything because they have interacted so little, and on account of how motherfucking big this cast is, Sero hasn't given me like a great moment to really like, okay, what could these two truly be? Right now, it's like, okay, they could be heroes together. Sero seems fun, but it's kind of just seems. I don't have a solid vibe for what he could be and how they could interact. He's kind of just around sticking like his tape. So I'm gonna do not for me, as I can see someone who has latched on to one of these two and really pushing for it. And that I don't hate it. It's like, okay, you do you. All right, next up we have Todoroki x Camie, specifically the actual Camie, not the other one. Now, these two have one very fun interaction where Camie's like the flirty girl who's like, oh boys, you seem fun. Then we have one weird comment where she talks about Todoroki's heritage. I think she calls him a thoroughbred at some point, or just like the idea what the Japanese was actually going for is like, oh, you're from like good stock, you're like from a nice good family, and the English subs which just gave it super weird connotations. But for these two, see, I kind of like this more than Sero and Todoroki because I have a better grasp of who Camie is. Just like the fun dits where it's like, girl disappeared for several days or started acting weird because she was being impersonated, and everyone just collectively went, yeah, that's Camie being Camie. And if you pair that energy with Todoroki, I can actually see there being a lot of fun with it, as it doesn't have to be fully be Todoroki being her keeper, but if we're doing quiet with dits, it is just a couple that always semi-interests me. It gives me big Carol from the Tomo anime, where it's similar, like, okay, Chrissy energy, her keeper, and it's just an enjoyable mix I think could be very entertaining. She also has the illusion effect, which goes along with Todoroki's ice, which is transfer via mist. So, gonna be nice and say I could see the vision here. Next up, Todoroki x Uraraka. Now this one, do these two ever properly, fully interact in the series? I did a quick read through to remind myself of shit before doing this video, but this is the one where I fully blank on it every time, whether or not they've even spoken to each other like face to face. Out of all the pairings with Uraraka, like of the main cast, I think this is the one that gives me the least. I mean, Uraraka initially being a hero for money, marrying into the hero that has all the money who doesn't really maybe want to be a hero if he was given the choice. Like, you can definitely write a fic like that. So I think this one's just not for me. There's so many better pairings for Uraraka that, yeah, I can honestly see for both of them doing more interesting things with other people. While this is like, it's there because it's process of elimination. These two are paired with so many other people that, of course, they're gonna get paired together just because it's completionism. So for me, this is not for me. I mean, Uraraka does deserve her prince. She doesn't deserve to be in any of the Endeavor family drama. That's the truth, just point blank. She does not need to get caught up in any of that mess. God, I cannot say any of that properly. Okay, Todoroki x Iida is fucking good. Honestly, of all the interactions, Todoroki and Iida low-key should be way more relevant than I feel like it is, as the Stain arc was so goddamn good. Todoroki trying to stop Iida from doing what he did, them coming together, Iida realizing like how he fucked up, and then having these great small moments where he's like, no, don't do what I fucking did. And all that is just so fun. It creates such a good possible bond, as if you're gonna pair Iida up with anyone, it probably would have been Deku if he wasn't fucking just pushed to the side. So if we're gonna not have that happen, then Todoroki x Iida might be the best option on Iida's table right now. I can honestly see these two super vibing, as yes, it is again control, princely, a little bit more formal to the two more formal kids in the class, but Iida is a fun kind of formal. He is exuberant, he's very much for the rules, he lets everyone know that, and that is very much more of a personality. It is a different kind of flavor versus other options. So I'm gonna have to say that Todoroki x Iida, you know what, fuck it. It's all right, baby. Okay, next up we have Todoroki x Kirishima. Well, they both have red hair.
This disease is called gingivitis, and it occurs because ginger kids have no souls.
It's again another case of, okay, super exuberant, super, okay, manly, not toxic masculinity, but the good kind of masculinity, versus Todoroki's more quiet. And oh my god, Todoroki needs more positive examples of masculinity in his life, and I'm kind of down for them to hook up just based on that alone. Like, holy shit. Who the fuck is Todoroki's like positive male role models besides All Might-ish? Because everyone admires All Might. Honestly, I would be so fascinated to see how Kirishima would react to Endeavor's backstory, how he would see all of what he did versus what he's doing now. Yeah. Again, Todoroki is the character, but it's the drama of his family that really hooks people in a lot of ways. It's his relationship with his father, for better and for worse. So if you're gonna be shipping Todoroki with anyone, it's always a question of, okay, how do they gel, and how does the character gel with the rest of the fam? And I think Kirishima would be a very interesting character to throw into the mix, to see his response and reaction to everything that's going on, and how he would honestly work to support Todoroki in said situation. You do a broken pedestal situation here with Kirishima saying like, fuck all this shit, we are getting out, leave the dad behind, trying to like find a more positive or valuable perspective than whatever Todoroki's been given. Honestly, fuck it, 7 out of 10. I like Kirishima, so Kirishima's gonna be in a lot of 7 out of 10s just because he is very fun. All right, Todoroki x Nejire. This is just going and not for me. It is the blander version of everything Todoroki has had with other more exuberant characters, except these ones actually haven't interacted. Nejire, again, it doesn't have too much going on, which is a tragedy. So for her, it's okay, there's not enough texture to her, or like texture to the interactions that I can imagine. So just doing not for me. I feel like this is really a nah, bro, but out of respect for the one person who figured shit out, I'm putting up 1 tier higher. All right, next up we have our first All Might ship. And it's with Miss Midnight. Now, this is not nearly as popular as the next one we're gonna talk about, but completionism, I think this one is kind of eh. Midnight is fun till she's dead. All Might is great in pretty much every form that he has. So when I imagine these two together, it does become more of like a workplace rom-com. This is fucking All Might, we have Midnight. Their names sound semi-similar, so or they rhyme, so I can kind of just give it that on just pure vibes. Midnight's concern for other people is very admirable. I would like to see like the hero backstory of them working together when they were both active, but just as a couple, it's giving me nothing. I'm putting this in nah, bro. It's not a full nah, but it's less than not for me, it's not giving. And this is just, it exists. I can see why the fan art would be good, but I don't care for it. I don't care to imagine the person that does. Well, that's a little harsh. I just don't care. All right, next up we have what I do care for. All Might x Deku's mom, Inko. Now this is a fucking great ship, as it's basically giving Deku a daddy.
Daddy, no!
And his mom is getting an even better daddy, even though she is clearly mommy. I love Deku's mom, Inko. She is really good. She is such a fun character for who she is in the story that she's in. So many other shows, it's so hard to make the parents relevant and to have them be worried and concerned without having it be like terrible, as you want the action to happen, so anyone that suggests other things should be happening or they should stop automatically is gonna get put in like a more negative light. So having the one character who be that voice of reason and have All Might say, I fully understand, I fucked up, bow to her. It is such a great sentimental moment. And the fact that Deku, as a fucking dad who has straight up not appeared in the story, it makes it so easy to just put All Might into this parental space where he is the dad to Deku. He becomes the stepdad, even though he is already that kid's father, that it just makes it natural for these two to hook up. And I especially love super skinny All Might with her. I think that is all the fun. Yeah, again, huge All Might buff, picks her up, swings her around, all the fun. But seeing kind of like this more skinny All Might after his prime, after he has given up the mantle, kind of settle down and find like a life after heroics. I think it's such a good vision. It is such a good idea. And I just love to see a transition for his character where he does like do that, where he does kind of like, he's been the hero of peace, the pillar of peace for so goddamn long, and to have that quiet home life, which Inko just exudes that energy, fits so well. So I am giving us our first top tier, as these two truly deserve it. All right, next up is All Might and Present Might. What should I say about these two? Like, genuinely asking. I think that Loud, extremely... Here's the thing, Present Mike is fun, I enjoy him as a character, but his energy is just so better given to literally Aizawa. These two, so good. That to imagine him with pretty much anyone else is like, okay, I guess. So for me, I think All Might and Present Mike, it's good, it's fine, but it's not for me. They can both have shout-offs to see who can be loudest. They can have quiet moments. They both have huge amounts of trauma based on just having people taken from them by All for One. There's potential there, but it's not something that I am like, okay, I need to dig into this with these characters. Speaking of which, All Might x Aizawa, aka Eraserhead. They're good. This is good. If Midnight and All Might are the kind of a rom-com, these two are basically the couple that you know are gonna end up fucking in the actual comedy. Like workplace, they're always fun. These two would be rivals. These two would be fucking Timmy Turner's dad and Dinkelberg, where All Might and Dinkelberg think that they are gonna be good friends, and Aizawa has that fun hatred going for the other man. But they still end up hooking up, and I am all for it. I think that they both work really well, just like co-parenting all these fucking kids that they have officially adopted in some cases. So I am fully giving this to All Right. As far as characters go, Aizawa is like the one guy early on who is fully calling All Might on some of his shit, his weird teaching methods, how far he's let Deku hurt himself before stepping in. So having that negative, we know we need to think about this and be practical with All Might's basically big hero, anything is possible energy, that fits. That is very fun to imagine, and I really wanted to see more of these two in just every chapter because it's so good. It's great. All Might had a fucking teaching book and it was just the judge. I like it. All right, next up we have All Might and Hawks. Well, I think there is something interesting where I would like to see more of All Might and Hawks, how they see each other. See All Might's take on just the dark world of superheroics that he may have known about but wasn't like super in the know, as he was so busy being the hero, and I do mean the hero, that the rest of the kind of shady shit that the government was doing was just not on his radar. So having these two interact is kind of an interesting case of just like, okay, what does All Might know? How would he react? And just seeing the process and seeing how these two would change from that interaction and relationship. Would Hawks become more idealist? Would All Might get hit with a pessimism that would challenge who he's become? I think there is interesting things to do, so I can kind of see the vision here. It's not fully for me, and Hawks is better put with another hero. Yeah, you know the one, but it's here, and I support it. All right, next up we have All Might x Melissa, the daughter of his best friend, and this is only here so I can use this one clip.
And if you save him, I'll do that thing you always wanted me to try.
You don't mean the daddy issues Batgirl roleplay?
Yeah, she's basically just the Barbara Gordon to Bruce Timm's Batman. Yeah, it's not good. This is FBI open up immediately. Just need the clip though, so there it is. All right, next up, All Might x his teacher, Shimura, I think. I know that's the last, Nana Shimura. Why do I remember shit just out of the most without context? Okay, this is another case where she is full on an adult when she's training All Might, so this has to go to FBI open up immediately. But there's also a lot, there's a great amount of intimacy and love that All Might has for his teacher that it is so easily to like, yeah, what if it was put on your rose-tinted glasses, horny? And I can see why this would have as much prevalence as it does. Doesn't change the fact that that's a child, technically, but she did put her faith into him to be the next generation, to become the hero. I enjoy it, their teacher-student relationship, not them banging relationship. But this is again a situation where everything that they are
head on, applied directly to the forehead.
This is actually the fucking Batman x Batgirl ship, because everything that these two are is made worse by having them suddenly be a retcon that says, oh, that great student-teacher relationship Yeah, they were all so fucking. It would make everything more complicated and it would not be good for anything. It would ruin things. She was his inspiration in so many ways, and we don't need the extra complications. Sometimes you have to just let it go. All right, and next up is Endeavor x All Might. You know, it's weird that I don't ship these two as much as I feel like I should. These two are essentially the Goku and Vegeta of their story. All Might was the fucking hero who just always was the best. He kept getting stronger. Endeavor was the mad, super petty other guy who just wanted to beat All Might but never could, so he decided to abuse his kids to continue the legacy for him instead. So for these two, I do wish we could see them in their prime when they're interacting. Right now, yeah, I feel like I should like this more than I do, but it is a weird thing where we catch them in this show, as this is kind of like one of the great things about early My Hero is that it kind of does a great next generation story so well, taking all these archetypes, asking questions like, okay, what if these two rivals didn't settle their beef? What if they didn't reach that friends equilibrium that happens in so many other shows? So with that in mind, when we see them in the story, it is a case of like, okay, this could have been fun in a different story, but in the one that we have in the context of the world, it is a very good case in that All Might's already living rent-free in Endeavor's head. That is undisputed. So in a story that basically makes it so painfully clear about why. So I might have fully lost so much footage depending on how badly this camera just fucked me. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties that I am currently working through. New camera, new stuff, new setup. I am working with what I have. These two, Endeavor x All Might. I see the vision. That's kind of about it. That's in summary. I think it's fine. This should be a ship that I am obsessed with. But it's just fine as far as I'm considered. Where these two are at in the story, usually I'm all for the guy that's obsessed with the hero. But this is a case of like, okay, I get it, but there's so much other drama going on in their lives that their relationship, while it is like the source of so much of the issues, it's more centered around Endeavor not being able to take the hint to move on with his life. So, great concept. And the rest of the story is just proving, yeah, the dude should be doing other things. So, I see the vision, but it's what it is. It could be good. I won't fully dismiss it, but it's whatever. All right, next up is Present Mike x Midnight. Now these two they exist. They're here. The funniest thing though is the next one, is that this literally just representative of the fact that all the teachers, they're fucking. I know you don't want to hear this, but yes, they're all banging. It's happening. UA has a lot of silent rooms where a lot of nasty shit's happening. And yes, the principal definitely went up somebody's ass. And if that visual is now in your head, congrats. I can basically stop the video here. Moving on. All right, next up. Oh, Gran Torino x Shimura. Now these two are Nana Shimura. For some reason Shimura is easier for me to say. These two, 7 out of 10. This is another weird case where it's like fucking Deku's father, where we know Shimura had a family. She had a husband. I think her husband got killed, so she had to abandon her son. This is the case where it's like, the other guy is so not in the story that it almost becomes the default that people assume that the two of them were together. You know, a bunch of good shots where, yeah, they seem to be very close. They are the emotional support. They are the only ones that they really trust in the fucked up fight that was whatever they were doing against All for One. So for this case, 7 out of 10, it's good. I'm not sure if I like Gran Torino's young design. I love the old man Yoda so much. It is such a fun look. And Shimura, she is perfect. She looks amazing. But if we're doing couples, these two, it's good. I do prefer if like the old guy, young, it's so much complications, but it is what it is. It's good. I'm putting it up there. Next up we have Gran Torino and Recovery Girl. This one kind of feels like it's here just by default, as they're both the tiny old people. They're the people you imagine settling down after a nice little cottage after all the shit of the story has happened. And in a world where it's like, okay, All Might can only trust so few people and these two are both two of them, you just know that they're in each other's lives just a little bit. So it's easy to imagine, okay, if they're gonna settle down, it's basically has to be with each other. Maybe they're both like, okay, the war is settled, we can finally have this thing that we've been putting off for so long. Or just realize, okay, the love of my life is dead after she gave up her family. I guess it's time for me to finally move on now that the fight is over. So, for these two, I'm just gonna say, see the vision. I want to see more, but I also wanted Gran Torino to die against Shigaraki. But if we're having these two like recover, Florence Nightingale syndrome, there are harder ships to write than this one, so I'm just gonna see the vision and move on. Okay, follow that up with, oh my god, okay. Froppy x Fumikage. These two, they vibe. It's a weird animal couple that's doing the art design thing of male, super like animalistic, then the girl's just attractive woman. I'll put the meme. It's pretty much exactly that. But these two, I think they'd be fun. It's not the craziest thing in the world. We have the whole awkwardness of when they fought together, of her vomiting up and showing what that tongue do. But as far as like the couples go, there is something interesting to me where you have basically kid who is so edgy, thinking he like, okay, I'm gonna be in the darkness. I'm gonna have like the hardest name as possible. I have this secret dark side that I'm holding back at all times. And then you just have like, honestly, the most normal and well-adjusted girl in the entire fucking class, and just have them end up together. Froppy, Asui, oh my god. Again, I pick one name, and like that's why I refer to them the entire rest of the series, no matter what else they say. But Froppy, she's great. Honestly, another case of, okay, deserves nothing but the best. I can definitely see these two bonding, gelling, and just having a decent time together. There is a great animal symmetry of just having the bird of prey that hunts frogs end up getting caught by the frog himself. I could definitely enjoy this. I can't put it in 7 out of 10 because I don't have a great enough vision myself to imagine like, okay, this could be something really good. But I also like it on just vibes. So let's be a hypocrite and put this in 7 out of 10. Next up, Froppy x Iida. This is another good one, y'all. When it comes to semi-well-adjusted kids in the class, and the ones that I actually like feel good and not just quiet, I really enjoy these two. Iida he's fucking Iida. He is that weird mix of being the rule follower who you think would be very strict, but he's also a bit of a goof. And then you have the character they think would be a bit of a goof, but is actually just pretty on the ball. So between these two, I feel like they would just have very fun chemistry, and their quirks would just be so entertaining to see if like they combine to create a kid, as you'd basically have a frog car, and I do want to see how that would happen. So for these two, they are going in 7 out of 10. There's gonna be a bias here where just like I like the characters, so they just get ranked higher naturally, and y'all are gonna have to deal with that, as that's shipping, essentially. Next up, we have Mina and Kaminari. These two are kind of the idiot couples of the group. We're not idiot couples, a couple of idiots that are in the class. Mina is super fun, but she's also not the best test taker in the school. Kaminari is kind of like that fun guy who I swear I've seen his exact character design in 3 different series, but he's good. He's fun. I can definitely see these two being like a great background couple, but not something I'm like, oh, I need to see that. As let's be frank, these two these two just straight up have such better options just sitting there that clearly we have to put them with the other people. This one is just see the vision. That is all it is. And I think that's fine. Moving on, Mina x Uraraka. Now, Mina is in this interesting position where I feel like the internet collectively saw her just fandom and went bisexual.
Food, water, atmosphere.
Just was claimed immediately. And honestly, well, stereotypes aside, fun girl things aside, I do really enjoy these two as a couple. During Uraraka's whole thing about catching feelings for Deku, Mina's like the one love person who's like, she is shipping it so hard and it makes her so fun by just being excited about these things, that her being the one to get with Uraraka instead, it does create its own fun sense of chemistry. We do have, again, another fun hero, Uraraka going on her own journey of being the hero to like help save people. That the idea of them being together, like that whole second ending is also amazing just for like the relaxed energy it gives. I do think it is a great case of a character who you imagine being like the support for someone else, end up being supported by someone else who finally like recognizes what they're going through. Mina is so amazing. She is so fun. She's the perfect like background character to a certain extent where you immediately recognize, you enjoy what she's like. And Uraraka, they're kind of like not the best of friends. Froppy is taking that place, I think. No 100% for Uraraka. But for Mina and Uraraka, I fully support it. I think this could be very fun, very entertaining. The pink color palette would be on point, and I just think that out of all the couples where it's like, it's fun. It'd be a good comfort ship is the thing. There's not gonna be too many bad vibes here. So, yeah, I'll say 7 out of 10. All right, next up we have, God fucking. Okay, this is kind of the worst thing I have to say. Out of all the women that Minetta has harassed over the course of the series, essentially his best options as far as chemistry goes, unfortunately, is Froppy or Jiro. And they both have the affliction, the situation, the, oh great, I'm the one who has to deal with this effect, that they both are the ones that are the most likely to shut his shit down. Which, when it comes to shipping Minetta with anyone, seeing someone put him in his place and reminding him to stop being a creep, it does breed ships. It is a vibe. As everyone else, it's a case of, oh great, the guy got what he wanted when he really just needs to learn his fucking lesson. So, based on the fact that they are like initially together, the fact that she straight up starts drowning him at some point, this is sadly, yeah, I think this is Minetta's best hypothetical ship here. But she deserves better though, that's the thing. Froppy does, I think if I'm just like, okay, based on just historical tropes, what they could be, and if anyone deserves to be henpecked, it's him. I could honestly say this is a 7 out of 10, but I think Froppy deserves better than him. So here's the thing, I like it, but morally I can't be caught ranking Minetta too high. So I'm just doing not for me. Am I happy with that? Is that good? Fuck. No. I see the vision. It's not good, but I definitely see it. Alright, next up, Froppy and Uraraka. Now, for these two, fully enjoy them, really good. They're trapped dealing with all of Toga's bullshit. Great friends. Now, these two, again, out of all the women, Froppy is Uraraka's closest. No competition there. They spend the most time together. They are It's not like the most complicated, they don't have any real tiffs, they don't have genuine like fights or moments where we get to explore them and their relationship, but they are together. You can see that they truly trust and protect one another, and it's really solid. It is a good friendship. As far as relationships go, I still say I can enjoy it. I feel like I would be a traitor if I rank this like too far below what I did with Mina. So I'm just gonna say 7 out of 10, just so I can say I am at least consistent. They have a lot going on, in theory. What we see in the story is not super prevalent, but based on just the fact that we do see so much of them, I could really get behind it. I just haven't like found the right fic to really make me love it. I see this thing. Mina and Uraraka, I have seen the fan art for, and I've been like, yes, I fuck with this. I have not seen that with Froppy and Uraraka as much. My feed is a little bit different, but if I see one good pick, I am 100% for whatever wholesome thing they have going. And yes, I do have to stress wholesome because I'm not talking about Rule 34 here, guys. Sometimes you just like cute coffee date pics, and that's enough to sell you. These two, 7 out of 10. I just need the one thing, and I know I'm gonna be all for it. All right, next up, Mina x Jiro. Now, these two are kind of the solid opposites attract. Jiro's more quiet, more introspective, a little bit shy when put on the spot. Mina is, holy shit, she might be a literal manic pixie dream girl, just purely based on the horns and kind of, you could easily tell me she's like a fae and I would not question it. And I kind of adore that about their energy. If I were to see any two girls end up like, okay, end up in a relationship, I think I could really enjoy these two, as it is such an easy opposite to attract. It's not something like inspires great things, but it is such an easy pitch for me. Yeah, I think I'll just do 7 out of 10. We're not doing too much, we're not reinventing the wheel, but when it's simple and good. Fuck. Every time Minetta just appears, I'm like, oh yeah, then I remember he's the next one. It's like a jump scare. Oh, I have to do this now. He's also getting his own section, don't worry. There won't be excessive slander till then. But essentially for these two, it is a case of bright, super social, but kind of dumb versus the pervert creep who's actually super smart. It's whatever. I would put this as not for me, as I truly, it's like, okay, it's there. But Minetta drops every ship he's in by 1. Minus Froppy, so nah bro for me. All right, next up is Mina x Nejire. Fishy.
Long ago, a student got frustrated in class and quit being a hero, and it was terrible for everyone.
Poked the horns the one time, and we all were wondering that exact question. Nejire you can almost describe as being the general archetypes of Mina's character, but on crack. So essentially this is fun, but it's not anything special. It's not the craziest thing in the world. I can definitely see a fun pitch, but it's not for me. Okay, Mina x Froppy. Low-key, this is just a case to see the vision. There are so many characters of My Hero that me having to latch on to any of them, or like having the time to invest energy outside of, oh, that'd be cute, does require it has to have a little bit of pop. So for me, this is see the vision, nothing against it, basically. I can see people definitely vibing with them, but I'm not like, okay, it's not here for me. Unlike the next one, Mina x Kirishima, it is top tier. I think low-key, out of all the relationships in the show, these two might have the easiest sell for me. Like, out of everything that's gonna be canon, because of course it is, these two might be my favorites. As The backstory for Kirishima is so good. Mina's place in it is so fun, and getting to see what she was like in middle school and how she served as an inspiration for Kirishima. The one caveat for this ship is like, I do fucking hate how it basically gave Kirishima his full circle moment where he made up for being terrified of Machina in the past and doing it by just fully having Mina just crack under pressure. What could have easily been just they came together and got the W together. Their shared moment just becomes a Kirishima, oh fuck yeah, good for him. And I don't think the moment that happens later in the series ever makes up for that. Like if I ever had like a breaking moment for my hero where it's like, yeah, that kind of really rubbed me the wrong way and the rest of the series was me being a little bit more critical or salty, that was the moment. I love them as a couple still, but I was very salty about that I was basically always waiting for like the female fighters to get their fucking fight. And it took so long to happen, like outside of Mirako, because she is the author's fetish. Not even disguised, just straight up, that is Horikoshi's type. So she gets all the scenes, all the limb loss. But Mina was like, okay, she was gonna be so good. She was about to get her big win. That was an actual fight, which in shonen is everything. Instead, she choked. So Kirishima could do his thing.
Well, this sucks.
Love them as a couple still. And I did write a whole video that I've yet to actually make for them. But for this case, they are top tier. I enjoy the fuck out of them. They have some of the best chemistry on display in just how little we see them. If there was ever an easy ship to write, it would be them. Okay, moving on. All right, we have Oyama x Iida. Like this isn't anything extreme. It's not like, oh my god, that could be amazing. This is an interesting case where Oyama is always fun. He is very excessively flamboyant, which weirdly Iida is as well. Like when you compare like how they act, there is a certain sense of commonality, but it's never like, okay, I need this. It's kind of just there. And I feel like that's just my opinion on them in general. I do remember the one great moment, like in the provisional exam, but I don't feel like that's fully enough to justify me putting them up in like C division. This is kind of just not for me. All right, Oyama x Mina. Now Mina, again, I just love her in general. She does seem to fit really well with a lot of the other characters just because great little moments, even if she doesn't have any giant great ones. But Mina and Oyama, they weirdly end up interacting a lot out of all the characters. They have their quick fights together. We can often see them in the background together. So for them, I'm just gonna say that I think it's not for me. I don't feel like I can raise it that high, but I do think it's like higher up. I do like it more than Oyama x Iida. It's just like not placed highly enough for me. And Oyama and Uraraka. Now I want to go not for me, but I have so little energy to give this one that I'm just doing nah bro out of just, it's not there. I could never think about it again and I would not be affected. And that level of apathy is worse than not for me. I don't have shit to say. Truly, I have to conserve my energy for a lot of these couples as there's a lot. It's not gonna just be like, oh, I don't have anything to say. These two, it is a case of intriguing enough, but not anything fully special to me. Shinzo is fun. Froppy is supportive. You can do interesting things with them tagging up together, but it's not gonna be a relationship that's like, okay, we don't have a defining moment that really guide us to see how they would be. To really get that spark, like, oh my god, what would be amazing about them, or give like the solid pitch. But I think that these two, it's just not for me. because I don't really care. I love both characters, but if we were to like actually do pitches on what they would be together, I'm pulling a blank. Other than like, okay, no, they would be good to each other, and that isn't really enough to justify a ship. But for someone else, I'm sure they could write something amazing. So, not for me it goes. Alright, follow that up with Mina and Fumikage. Now I like Mina, and I like Fumikage. And while the last couple was like, okay, something can be done with all of this, we actually have one standout moment for them, and it's in the fucking movie, where Mina getting hit by, like actually shot in the leg with hair, is enough to cause Fumikage to lose his mind, go full Shadow Beast, and fuck another woman up. This was great. If you want just that one bit of justification, that one little nugget to say, okay, there's something here, that is it. Personally, I like it well enough, primarily because Mina with this giant edgelord would be fun. But Mina's fun with everyone. So, we have to at least put it in See the Vision, as I do just enjoy the Black Cat Golden Retriever couples. And this is so that, oh my god, these two are really just N and Uzi from fucking Murder Drones. Like, to a T, just with less memes and depression. Alright, See the Vision. Wait, I'm betraying myself. I just said I just really love that type of couple that I'd put it on the, no, fuck that. 7 out of 10. This is basically the Mina sweep list at this point. Alright, next up, Oyama x Toru, Invisible Girl. The child that Horikoshi drew naked on the front cover of a volume. Yes, please complain more about any of my takes. But all this is, there's other shit to complain about. So for these two, this is essentially Oyama's best ship. They have the most complementary powers. He has a massive light laser that he can shoot out. She can manipulate lights, and that results in her being invisible most of the time till she reveals her true self, I guess? She's the one who discovers that he was the double agent. There is stuff you could do with them. You want to do like, oh, she knows a secret or she discovers a secret. Had drawn where you drag out the Oyama is the traitor bit. You can, which low-key is speaking of dragging out that whole bit, that whole story. Straight up felt like it was forgotten about, to Horikoshi being the good writer in the shitty situation that he is, that is manga, work system, and release schedule. I think these two would be cute. We don't get a lot of Toru, but when it comes down to it, I feel like just some of these ships I can just chalk up to similar powers that would be fun together. And I think this is definitely one of those cases. I feel like Toru has to be ranked with somebody here decently, besides like the people she stood naked with. And yes, canonically she's apparently naked. I guess I'm just gonna do 7 out of 10 for them. It's not something like I love, but I think it's good. And that's honestly enough. All right, next up we have Oyama x All for One. Yeah, what were you guys expecting me for this one? Besides it having to go there by default, villain daddy and victim and all that, it is a case to me that yes, you want that sad slash fic, that abusive one. You have the evil overlord just like controlling this poor woobie that you want to just get out of this situation. But I feel like that's just like the more sympathetic and the better victim versus like Shigaraki in that situation, where if Shigaraki has done too much that you feel like you can't forgive, then Oyama becomes like the next easy substitute. It's not perfect, and you'd be better off with whatever All for One being Deku's real dad theories have been. It's still FBI open up. This guy has known him since he was very young. put a full quirk inside him, and he has been suffering from it ever since. But it was on the wiki, I had to put it in here. I didn't have to, but need to get a little bit of that out. Kinda like how I need to get this Minetta rant out of my soul. Minetta is not as bad as I like to make him out to be, but his archetype is so easy and fun to hate on him, as he came out at just the perfect time to be bad, and in the perfect show to be bad in. As My Hero basically came out as what was the second big crop of shonen after the whole Naruto Big 3 craze happened. So this series came out, kids are being a little bit older, teens, not just horny, but they're also like, hey, maybe the jokes about characters assaulting women shouldn't be a thing. And then you have Minetta, whose whole thing is, yes, he's a pervert, but he's also suffering really bad, and everyone acknowledges that he is a creep. Where other stories, it's like, oh, you creep. Then it's back to okay, hang out with him afterwards. This is a case where Minetta is kinda ostracized for it, so it's very easy to talk shit about him. I think Minetta is a case where, yes, he is so clearly supposed to be in the wrong, but we're still doing the thing. I'm like, oh my god, Minetta tried to do this, and he got punished for it, only to then reward the reader with the half-naked children. Making that one cover a thing. It does breathe oh my god, Minetta's the worst, but it's still the case of, oh, we're still doing it to a certain extent. We're still doing fan service. And while you love that shit when you are young, where we are going towards as a society, it's still not good. Minetta is written as he is, but he's still bottom of the barrel, folks. Both how he's written, how it is kind of hypocritical in the series itself, it basically just, no. If he was hotter, people would let him get away with more and be less hateful towards him, but he's the little weird guy that he is, so no one is going to bat for the kid. Alright, moving on, we have Momo x Kendo. Now, these two, case of similar characters, but at least there is a slight rivalry here. There is a little bit of texture to how they interact that gives us a little bit of fun. Momo x Kendo it's a good small side rivalry. I like the idea they are constantly being forced to be a pair, and Kendo having those feelings and those being vocalized and being written to be actual character things is good. And this is though just a see the vision. I have no negative thoughts about it. There is stuff to be mined for their relationship, but it's also not wow, pal, this could be something above. It's oh, that could be cute. You see the idea or the hints. Next up, we have Momo x that one filler villain that has intellect in the name. Now, I remember watching this girl, and I'm pretty sure she's voiced by the character from Kakegurui. You know the one? They're both intellect types, they're both smart, they both think things through, and it's more explicitly, okay, smart versus okay, both kind of leaders of their team like it is for Momo and Kendo. But again, this is filler, so it's not for me. Alright, Kendo x Monoma. This one's actually fun to me. I'm gonna put this fully in 7 out of 10. As it is, again, Froppy and Minetta, but a more fun version. Where Monoma is the one guy who is saying what everyone in Class B is thinking to a certain extent. That he fucking hates how much Class A has become the main heroes, how they are getting all the attention and they are just the other guys essentially. And even if he is being the worst about it, he's not saying anything that the others don't feel just a wee bit, that they are being sidelined just a little. So, I like though that Kendo's the one who's okay, you need to sit in the corner, you take the time out. It doesn't make it a fun day, okay, these two are technically the leaders of their class, and that makes them kind of just a fun side couple in what is already a full side couple, or side class. I like the idea of them, I enjoy them individually, So yeah, I can enjoy seeing them together. I like it. So, 7 out of 10. Next up is Kendo x Tetsu 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 Tetsu. His name is literally just Iron 4 times straight. I love it. Now these two are basically, it's based entirely off of the fact that, again, similar thing, like we are the sideline class, we never had our moment to step up. And Tetsu really like buckled up and said, no, we have to fucking stop this one villain or else we have no reason to be here in the story. So I enjoy it. I like their little convo. I like Tetsu Tetsu. He's actually, for being just a copycat character, he is very fun. So for them, I'm just gonna put See the Vision. I'm positive on it, but it's gonna be like, okay, immediately like, that's good with the Monoma and Kendo. So See the Vision, ranked a little bit below, but still good. Next up, the one that people will go feral for. Endeavor x Hawks. Endeavor x Hawks. I really just want to say a hawk every time I say his name. But Hawks it is. Hawks all the way around. Now, these two. It is essentially the Endeavor gets his act together and is semi-productive and helpful to society. Hawks is this weird case where he talks about how he was inspired by Endeavor, which adds so many weird fucking vibes, but people still ship the shit out of this one anyway. This is, oh my god, Simon and Betty, both better and worse, as way younger inspiration for Hawks. But also they don't fully meet till they're in their, well, Hawks is in his early 20s. I don't love it, but if we were to take just, okay, two professional heroes, one is kind of the inspiration for the other, one who's constantly pushing the other man to be his best and to support him even though he has done fucked up shit. Hawks has his own self-hatred complex for everything that he has done, that there is this set of commonality that I do feel like is worth exploring in how they view the other. As Hawks doesn't have many stones to throw, as he is living fully in a glass house. So if we were to end up putting Endeavor with anybody, it honestly feels like Hawks is the one semi-option here. He's the one who's like, okay, what is the step forward for Endeavor? And like, what does he start doing with his life and getting a partner in multiple senses who is going to be pushing him to be better and to show him like what he could be and what he represents outside of his worst self. Now, I think this could be good. The red flags are so red. Fuck it. All right, it goes. I really enjoyed their relationship in the show, so I have to like enjoy it as the couple shit. Unfortunately, that is, my brain's semi-broken like that, so we're doing it. All right, next up is Endeavor, and yeah, that's exactly what you think it is. It's you, the fans. We should do this like once every video where it's like character X the fandom, because the fandom is so down bad. And this should be Mirako, but I decided that I didn't want that smoke. But yeah, Endeavor, this is more about the fandom love for him. As we, as a society, love to watch the story of a guy who did bad things learn to be better. He low-key might be the most interesting character in the show, and I kind of love and hate that. This man has a full-ass journey where he is growing to take responsibility and be called out by the rest of society for what he did, and I appreciate it. I love Endeavor as a character, hate his actions, but for when we're watching a story, it's good. I even say it's top tier. Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this either. This is I did not plan any of these ships in advance, so this is like gut feeling, where do I put this, do it. Yeah, that's high rank for even what I expected. Okay, Endeavor x Deku's mom.
Doing your mom, doing your mom.
How do I say this politely? I just want Deku's mom to fuck him up. Literally, that is it. All Might and Inko, that's good, that's fun, that's sweet, that's sentimental. I really would love to see just her reaction to finding out how Endeavor treats all of his fucking kids. I want her to beat his ass. As if there was any character who could, it would be the mom in this situation, and she is absolutely gonna be the one to do it. As she is mommy, and we fucking need that, and he fucking needs to feel that. All right, next up, and this is a one that I purely found on the wiki, and the ship name was Bad Dads. Yeah, it's accurate. Now, Shigaraki's dad is basically like the worst case scenario for like, oh, my mom abandoned me because to be a hero, didn't know the full context, lived his whole life resenting her for what she did, though she had a good reason for it. And then he proceeded to beat his kids. That was his response. And to basically ban hero talk forever in his home, becoming a controlling father who just, his wife and in-laws straight up were gonna leave him. So to have like the two awful dads hook up, it is a case and okay, they can be better, they can become worse. It is just the Venn diagram of the exact bad father figure, and having them might as well be a thing. I think the funny thing is, I feel like, now this is the actual appeal. Endeavor would be everything that Shigaraki's dad hates about Hero Society. He is the guy saying, you need to be this. It is the definition of heroics ruining a family that the dad would just have no love for. He would hate Endeavor. He would agree that they both do things, or that they both have those course of actions and how they treat their kids. But this is a case where I do think that would make the ship interesting far beyond just the meme. Endeavor is everything the dad would hate about heroes, especially in how they treat their kids. So that context alone, I would honestly love to see like a Punisher type situation where the dad fully just like becomes the killer of bad heroes. I'm not talking about The Boys and Billy Butcher. I'm simply thinking Punisher, even though it is basically Butcher, and having kind of a rivalry romance out of that. I don't want a good ending for this couple, but I do feel like I would definitely read that ship. All right, so see the vision weirdly. That is weirdly high for what I expected. All right, this one is similar. It is the fandom's obsession with Todoroki's sister. Y'all latched onto this one so hard that it shocks me every time I turn my head and find it. Literally obsessed. Wears one sweater and people cannot stop thirsting. But I see the vision. This one is Best Genius, Best Genist, Best Genius. I'm gonna say genius so many fucking times. Okay, Best Genist X Edgeshot. Now these two. Don't have any fucking reason to be together. Literally, it's just, okay, one guy can become as thin as string, the other guy controls clothes. Really, the only reason this is truly here is, can I say that, fuck Edgeshot being the one to sacrifice himself for Bakugo. Truly. The most random choice out of everyone, when Best Genus is literally right there that you can then justify, oh, my forbidden technique. I can control fibers, but also muscle fibers as well. I'll give Bakugo my heart. Literally, he is the only character that I can, for what happens. And I've read the manga, so I know how that ends. Best Genus is the only one I can see where him giving his life feels like it's... We know Bakugo's not gonna die. That is not gonna fucking happen. Not in this show. But if we're gonna fucking have someone give their life so he can get back in the game and make it feel like, okay, we did lose Bakugo, but we still lost something. Genus is the only one it matters. He is the only one who can do something and have it feel emotionally relevant to Bakugo and have it then feel, emotionally relevant to us. So to have Edgeshot instead come out and say, I have to give my life, flashback to my heroes' ethics and beliefs and how this is like the good thing that we need to, I'm like, no, the story set up this other guy doing shit and he is not. So I'm saying this whole moment is bottom of the barrel for me. And the fact that Edgeshot fucking lives drove me up the wall. Like, holy shit. Made a necessary, but you don't believe it, waste of time to a complete waste of time. And I hate that. All right, next up, Best Jeanist x Bakugo.
Do not diddle, kids. It's no good diddling, kids.
Truly though, I wish we got so much more of these two together. I really like the, Bakugo choosing his name Dynamite, wanting Best Jeanist to be the one he tells first. Truly, it is such a cute little moment, cute little relationship, just of this master trying to comb this much more unruly student. And this is like a relationship, a teacher-student thing that I would like to see more of in that official mentorship capacity. Romantically, fuck no, get out of here. I do not want that anything, but just, it's fun to imagine what these two could really be if we had more time and how it's relevant to Bakugo as a person who chose like Best Jeanist purely because like, oh, he's the highest ranked person to make an offer. So of course, that's the only reason I really picked him. Well, just Best Jeanist like, no, I want you here because I think you're a fucking train wreck and I'm trying to smooth out your rough edges. As yeah, Bakugo has all the edges, as he is a piece of work. All right, moving on.
Then let's go support him.
We can't. Our priority is the flames of disaster!
Endeavor x Burnin. This is another case where if this were like fucking Bakugo with another loudmouth lady, we would get a couple ships in just by default. This is Endeavor's employee, so if you want that office romance or just have an actual person that works with him professionally be personally affected by Endeavor's personal life, she might be one of the characters you write with versus Hawks who just knew him. Like he just met him. Hawks knowing Endeavor is good. They have like a lot of fun possibilities. But if you're trying to like mine the tragedy of like having news about someone you respected, have it be revealed, and having that actually affect how you view them, you'd have to like choose someone that's known Endeavor for years on a personal level, professional level, and have there actually be a reaction. I think you could do that with Burnin, though in his case, like, yeah, he definitely, that's his sidekick, Batman and Batgirl. If this were fully comparable, I would put this at the bottom of the barrel. But the fact that Endeavor, as far as we know, doesn't know Burnin's father, and Burnin didn't date his son, I'm just gonna put these two in Nabro. All right, next up we got the Christian and the Beast. I did look up their names. Forgot them already. This is just fun. It's cute, not for me, but I just like the aesthetic of the wild man and this holier than thou weird random. There's a fun thing in the show where it's like, okay, quirks will inform character. That is like a theory that's in the story. Bakugo having an explosive quirk, of course, would mean he have an explosive personality. But then I'm trying to think, okay, so her having a crown of thorns in her hair just made her predisposed towards religion?
Jesus Christ!
Christian variety? Somebody in the family historically must have turned to Christ for whatever quirk they end up manifesting. But for them, it's like, not for me. I don't have anything negative. I don't think positive to say. It just exists, and I want to give Class B some representation as they get so little of it already. All right, moving on. All right, Hawks x Midnight. Midnight's just kind of representative of all the horrific things people want to do with Hawks' body. He got so popular so quickly. I feel like I blinked and I missed it, and suddenly his body pillows were everywhere. He kind of looks like he's from a different show sometimes, but I kind of get it. I appreciate it. Not sure if him being with Midnight is the best, most interesting option. So this is another not for me. I have no personal qualms against it, but it's just, it exists. She dies in the war, and there's just not enough there to really say, okay, There's something special here. This is just around here. All right, next up, Endeavor and his fucking wife.
You in danger, girl.
That doesn't mean this ship is in any meaningful regard to me. This is a case of where it's like, woman, leave him. Leave this man immediately. Fuck him, move on with your life. Witness protection, write your tell-all. Find your peace. He does not deserve it. Literally arranged marriage, this shit. Forced her to have his kids, who he then proceeded to either neglect or abuse in some mad attempt to one-up another man. And she's just sitting here through all of it, having a mental breakdown. Scarred her own kid, got put in a mental hospital where she was refused access to seeing her family. Apparently, I think. May have been just Todoroki. But then, she's back in the story, reconnecting with her kids. Endeavor is like interesting in doing like, okay, giving them the space, finding his own place and where he's gonna be doing in this life. Not specifically hers. He is doing his own thing. He is not intruding into the home that they clearly are better off without him. But the fact that the story keeps having moments of where she's just like giving him credit is like, oh, yeah, he arranged marriage, forced me to have his kids. No signs of physical abuse, but this one time he remembered my favorite flowers.
What? What the fuck?
No, girl, leave. Run away. Do not be trapped by that bare minimum bullshit. That means absolutely nothing. That means less than nothing. Her saying like, it's such a weird thing in the story where it's like, that's a one thing about the whole Endeavor Todoroki family plotline that I'm always consistently like, do we need that? Does that need to be there? Her giving him, like, she doesn't have to be mad. I'm not saying, it's like you have to be like raging angry to be justified or valid. I just think that it's always like the story needing to give Endeavor just a little bit of grace from the audience. So the wife being like, he's doing something. He's fighting in his own way, trying to like do the thing. I'm just like, you know, this man botched you, right? The collective familial responsibility of his bullshit always just rang super hollow to me. Everyone was like, oh yeah, we didn't listen to Toya when he was like, tell us about his feelings. The mom saying, oh yeah, I also kind of fucked up here. I'm like, no, so much of that shit is on Endeavor that having the collective familial guilt for what happened. The guy tried to kill his own sibling when he was like 5 or 6, which is psychopath behavior. Yeah, that is like the one area I'm just like, that and her giving him as much grace as she is, saying like, I also have this. No, I still understand why the character might feel that way, but everything about this relationship needs to end, as there's no amount of damage control that really can really make it work in any meaningful regard, as far as I'm concerned. Isn't real life, other shit happens. But this one, it is just a no. No. Fuck no. Endeavor doesn't deserve as much grace as he got. This woman, saint, all things considered. I'd rather have more time with her kids versus talking about him. All right, next up we have Mei and Uraraka. One time, Uraraka saw Deku staring at Mei's chest, and if you want girl jealous, I mean, I guess you could write a whole ship about it. Even though, technically, I feel like Mei's more interesting if you compare her to all the other boys, Iida, Deku. You can get like a hint of something. There's anything particular here that is specific to Uraraka in how they interact. You can have maybe one who wrote the gear, how like made it, crafted stuff, could be concerned, have like combos about that really like kind of kick off the ship. But again, not specific to Uraraka. That isn't really like the main thing. So it's like, okay, there's not really anything special here. So if you want something, you kind of have to bring it yourself besides, okay, more complementary colors. So this one is definitely going in Not for me. All right, after this we have Endeavor x Mirako. It would be hot. Yeah, it would be. See the vision? Enough said. All right, Hawks x Lady Nagant is something that is interesting, though I'm not sure it has to be romantic. Hawks and Lady Nagant are basically the, if you want to think like 007, like they're the agents with kind of like the same job classification. They're both heroes that publicly are beloved, but secretly they are also the government's bitch and just force them to do all the dirty wet work that the government doesn't really want the public seeing. Lady was being forced to kill a bunch of heroes or capture them just for public safety and keeping the order of things. Well, Hawks is also doing similar things, but is allowed to be a little bit more public and puts on the mask just a little bit better. I do think there's a great similarity there in like having that, like the past and the present version of this role be talking and like communicating like what they went through and just all the bullshit related to that. So I do enjoy the idea. I'm just not fully like in love. It's not for me. I can't really like fully say anything about them that I could just say about like Endeavor, or say like, okay, Hawks reveal all his backstory that can be done with All Might. So this is just, okay. All right, next up this is Mudman and Tetsu. This, it exists. It's present. It's just not for me. I'm sorry that I'm throwing so much of Team B under the bus, but we have so little to go off of that yes, this guy can roll with anything. So that does make the idea of like, okay, him working with a hothead like Tetsu like works semi, but it's kind of just, okay. I hope you guys enjoy writing the fanfic, but it's present, not for me. All right, next up is Endeavor and his stalker.
I'm not normally so aggressive, I promise. I've just waited my whole life for an opportunity like this.
Nah, bro. This is not worth much. Man is obsessed, part of the problems that Endeavor's life has created, but it does not mean much. It exists to prove a point, essentially. All right, Mudman and Pony. They're cute together. See the vision. The funniest bit about them though is that, as I remember watching the Japanese dub, just the Japanese version, the subs, and they have her whole gimmick is like, oh yeah, you speak English occasionally. And then I don't think the actress like her English wasn't that great, but then it's like, oh, she's supposed to be the native speaker. But then you have Mudman, whose English is actually better and more easily understandable than hers was, and that was just very funny. Fun, cute couple, certain ideas can be presented, argue his ability to roll with anything works with the girl who's not all over the place, but who is like, needs a little bit of guidance. As this is a whole different situation, so it is a whole lot. All right, next up we got Overhaul x Eri. Nope. You know, I just want to bring up the fact that, again, this was on the wiki. I think it was similar to just villain bullshit. It's here, it's present. No one enjoys this. This is purely just, I think there's a dark parental ship thing that also made this thing where it's like, okay, father-child, just like a parental relationship. We're not talking about romantic here, to be clear. This thing is a mess. There's no world where I put this in any category ever other than FBI open up. There's no fucking any other alternative here. As yeah, this man literally rips her apart to scavenge pieces to put into his bone gun things. He was not withdrawing blood. It's, yeah, child abuse. Moving on, something a little bit more palatable. Overhaul x Deku. Well, you see, this one is...
If someone gets too near to your private parts, say no loud and clear. That's being smart.
Okay, that's over with. All right, next up, Overhaul in Mirio, which honestly has a way better shot of being just play the clip. FBI, open up! Overhaul x his crew. Honestly, this is the one thing where it's like, Overhaul, fucking monster that he is, but he did really good at picking his inner circle. These people are all obsessed with him, so there's a thing he's able to force some people in, but others have complete devotion. Mimic was just a massive fanboy. So if you want overhaul with anybody, this is the closest you're gonna get. Besides, okay, well there's one other option, but for overhaul, I don't want him to ever be happy, so nah, bro. All right, next up is Redestro and Skeptic, which honestly, it's just Doofenshmirtz and the guy from the Gorillas. This is an interesting case where just like Redestro, when he first shows up, is a good villain. He is very entertaining. Skeptic is his #1 supporter. He is so on fire when he is mad. It makes all of it just very fun to watch. As it's rage, this man is about to snap. You see those eyes and they are bloodshot, and I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing that obsession then being applied to Redestro, who is now subordinate role to Shigaraki, is laying it on thick, and everyone else who devoted their lives to this man have to sit back and watch. I think that's very funny of a dynamic, who have Skeptic like, dude, you are so much better than this. Like, I supported you and you are becoming just this lapdog. It does breed some interest in me. It could be something that I think would be entertaining, as I enjoy both of them on their own. You have them working under Shigaraki, just lots of ethical debates on what the fuck this would actually mean for, God, was it the Liberation Army? So honestly, I'm gonna put this in 7 out of 10. Honestly, it's gonna be like the exact same shit for Trumpet and Redestro, so I'm gonna just put that as see the vision, but Skeptic is more fun. There's a lot more personality to him, so he gets a little bit higher ranking. All right, next up, damn, this is all villains. Shigaraki x Nomu. You wanna know which one? Any of them. Literally any of them, as they are all just, they're brainwashed meat puppets. There's nothing left to them. They are sad tragedies of All for One and the Doctor's experiments. If you want to have a story about these two they are collectively victims of other people's intervention experimentations, you totally can do that. Get like a kind of a Frankenstein of a Nomu who is slowly regaining his humanity, and even it is able to recognize how badly Shigaraki is being treated. But I feel like you could almost save that better for a Big Daddy Little Sister situation, where yes, you have the brainwashed victim of mad science, but also have a child that he could have helped raise that could endear and create some of the humanity that supposedly is lost. I don't think that's specifically romantic, and you don't really have much else besides corn for the pitches here. Copyright, gotta block some words. So this one I'm just gonna do, nah bro, there's something, but it would not be specifically romantic. All right, follow that with Twice x Giren. Now, Giren was the broker who decided, okay, hey, let me help collect and find all these supervillains to join the League of Villains. Twice was one of them, and that little collection fee helped inspire Twice to find a group of people that he could actually feel at home and find community with, protect, to feel truly loved after a lifetime of just this tragedy that is Twice's existence. Twice Loki was the only one who was actually trying and pushing to rescue Giren. He was the only one who genuinely had an emotional reaction to find out that he was kidnapped, while the others is kind of like, they took our man. This is gonna look bad on me. Giren actually cares, and I feel like that works. That is something that you can latch on to, that in Twice's darkest hour, he actually found one person who was able to help inspire him to go and try again, to find a new community, to really help outfit him with a costume that would help keep his sanity in check. That there is a certain level of care you can then graft onto besides just Giren doing it for the money. You can do the recovery phase. You can have them truly connect in a way that we previously just saw oh, he's one of us. I can dig this. Yeah, I talked enough. I say that's enough to get it in 7 out of 10. All right, next up we have Deku's mom and Bakugo's. Now this is just a fun case where okay, the moms are together, their sons are fighting. What if they got married and complicated everything for the two bully and victim?
So good and tasty?
I can see the vision here. I enjoy it. It'd be a fun combo just to see how different or similar it would be versus their kids' relationship. Next up, Overhaul and Shigaraki. Let me double check one thing here. So he's technically an adult. The FBI is definitely gonna find them, but for unrelated reasons. So this one, I like just their interactions, not really feeling romance for these two. Yeah, I mean, yes, Overhaul does get fucked by Shigaraki, and I love that. But if we're talking romance and ships, I do feel like there is a hint of something. Just in Overhaul's, he's he's a hypochondriac. He wants to be so clean all the time. Shigaraki, you know he fucking smells and is not taking the best care of himself. So that's a kind of an angle you could take. The fact that we do have kind of the young villain up and coming, the more established one who tries to like fuck him over. You can do business rivals. There is elements that you can take, so I do kind of see the vision here. I enjoy this most in Shigaraki getting his win, but can't deny that there are some possibilities. All right, next up is All for One x his brother. All right, this one is kind of just a case where All for One, if you told me he was obsessed, borderline in love with his brother, I would believe it, as it would be so easy to code all of their interactions that way. All for One is essentially crazy. He is obsessed. He sees his brother as a possession that he personally owns, and that results in a lot of drama. All for One has basically spent so many years dealing with the consequences of his brother's actions, basically in this shadow war against his brother via the quirk. And that is fun, it's interesting. If you want to start shipping them, this is like a nah bro for me, but it is just, there's so much you can do for All for One, but it can be done better with All Might. So this one is not for me. Sorry, I just had to do a quick costume change and change a lot of batteries. Okay, Shigaraki x Giganto Machina. This one, well, Giganto's basically Shigaraki's fucking pet. The dude was originally All for One's dog, who treated him like shit, but he was still absolutely devoted. Then he just got told to wait in the shed for a couple years, and then he got pawned off on Shigaraki, who decided, I can control you, till he got proven that no, he couldn't. Not until a lot of training later did Giganto decide, yeah,
it's my quarterback.
I fuck with this. Mostly the smell. All for One specifically. Now, this ship probably shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but it's a thing. It's here. If you want a story about two characters breaking off a relationship from a very abusive partner who just happened to be the same person, this is it. This is You're Good, Girls. This is the size difference. It's huge. They are the difference. Get your minds out of the gutter. But these two, it's whatever to me. I don't fully see the vision. I don't love it, don't hate it. I think it's just not for me. But in the world of anything is possible, yeah, this is also apparently on the table. It's just not one of Shigaraki's best. And the fact that Giganto is essentially the minion he's basically kaiju-sized Doomsday, so he's less of a person and more of a force of nature. So he's not gonna be ranked really high on this list, even if Mount Lady was on it, which I didn't put that on here, but that'd still be the same. They're both not for me. Next up, we got Shigaraki x Redestro. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, But the point-of-nose business daddy is just not at all it's cracked up to be. I know Lord Olympus did a lot of damage. Probably still doing a lot of damage in that specific one regard. But I think for everyone else, all you need to know about these two, it'd be something. Shigaraki and Redestro is this weird case where it does feel like their relationship is kind of done. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like, okay, we have so much new territory to explore outside, like, unless Redestro starts pushing back against Shigaraki and like, maybe we should have some ideals to your destroy everything, just to get some politics in here outside of burn the world to the ground. So the fact that Redestro put his faith in Shigaraki, that does set up him to lose faith in Shigaraki, which could be interesting in of it itself. Redestro can also be huge like Giganto. Well, not as big, but he's a grower. But this is just not really anything to me. It's another not for me. I don't have anything like super negative to say, but it is another one of those weird situations where you can have the fact that they're both like the children who are born with such great responsibility, a very specific task and legacy is being thrust upon them that they're both eager to accept. But outside like character similarities, the romantic chemistry or just genuinely just hanging out just isn't really there. So moving on to something a lot more cuter. Coda x Eri. Yeah, this is just adorable. Eri is just basically like mascot Pokemon, the most chibi, adorable, kawaii things you can imagine wrapped up into one tiny, adorable package, who also has tragic backstory. This girl is so good. Then Coda is also adorable and that more precocious, I don't like you. 3 weeks later, owns his sneakers. Literally goes out of his way to buy the same shoes as Deku. It's adorable, it's cute. They were both on the same spectrum of life got destroyed by like hero villainism. They both like have suffered, they've lost family. Aries a little bit more fucked up in that she is a direct victim of overhauls and killed her own parents. Well, Coda just lost his parents to a villain of the week. They have both been through it, and they're also the only people their own age in the entire fucking show that we see, that we care about. Fuck all those kindergartners. These two are the, if you're trying to ship Eri with anyone, if you just want something adorable, cute, imagine fucking Anya from Spy X Family growing up with Damien, like that kind of dynamic is what I'm talking about. That type of shipping. I think this is basically your only choice, and it is fucking adorable. So I'm gonna put this in 7 out of 10. Not a whole lot, but it's cute, it's wholesome, it could be so adorable. They don't have to be heroes in the future, they could just do their own thing. But they're basically the kids that were saved by Deku, and it is so great to see them grow up and like kind of do their own thing after all that he sacrificed. Okay, cool. Next up is Shigaraki and Dabi. Why don't I find this? This is one of the issues I think with the League of Villains, is that you basically have such a large roster of villains. A lot of them are kind of like getting churned out with high frequency. That he doesn't really get a chance like certain villains to really talk, interact, or vibe with one another. Shigaraki and Dabi, they work together on occasion, but they always feel like work colleagues. You can take a lot of inspiration from just their general backgrounds, how All For One has fucked the both of them up, how they both have white hair, they're both scarred, just really not handling their quirks well. But character similarities aside, there just isn't really like the full communication of any kind. Like, I think you can count the number of times Dabi and Shigaraki talk on like one hand. So this is to me like, okay, give me a little bit of something to show me like, what can these two be? And the answer is nothing, because Dabi is so focused on fucking over his dad that by that proxy messing with Hawks, that then we just don't have much for Dabi to give to his technical boss. So I just leave it at that. It's not anything super particular, but it exists. I think someone can definitely see the vision for this one. And I also don't like really despise it by any means, so see the vision it is. I'm sure someone has done amazing things with it. All right, next, Twice X Dabi. Now this one I do enjoy. Twice is better with Hawks and Toga and everyone else. But if you want to pretend that Dabi is gonna end up with anybody that's on the villain side, it's kind of just Hawks or Giran, who I don't think is on this list, but they're also distant cousins. Twice and Dabi. I think it's fine. There is something fucked up and twisted about Twice's pure sincerity, that he sees this place as just all these villains as a genuine home, his genuine friends and family, than Dabi, who has only ever seen these people as a means to an end. He has seen his family, he has been in one, and things did not go well. The only mission he has in life is to burn that previous family to the ground to spite his father, and that is an interesting difference between them, but it does not breed or like really collide in a way that would create something immediately emotionally resonant. Twice wants to be genuine, he wants to kind of be everyone's friends, but I don't feel like it fully clicks here. I don't think it fully like, okay, Twice is going to like talk, he's gonna be the one who tries to like show Dabi, yeah, you can care, you can like start a chapter in her life, they can be villains together trying to accomplish their goals. They don't really get any of that. Dabi does see Twice as a means to an end. It is kind of just that simple. So I feel like there is a great fit to be found here. I feel like they both can be spent on different people. Okay, so not for me. Okay, this is Overhaul's one true genuine relationship, and it's with his boss, who he calls Daddy. This is a hard nah, bro. This man, Overhaul, is so obsessive that I'm gonna pay back my debt to you. I'm gonna do it against your wishes and force you into a coma. Like, the man is obsessed. He wants to do right by the person who helped him, but he's also fucking insane. And very much beholden to what the Yakuza used to be, and like their position in society where he can therefore be a new version of it. He is very much okay with changing the Yakuza if they get to maintain a position of power through some very evil shit. This is more just a testament to Overhaul's obsession than any genuine connection here. It exists. I'm sure it's been written. Bust out as many sponge bath AUs you can come up with, but this is not for me. And it's a nah, bro, honestly. All right, next up, All for One and Kurogiri. Now, Kurogiri is interesting because he's a teenager that was killed, then Frankenstein into a Nomu servant, maid, and just general travel device for All for One's purposes. Everything he is due to what was done to him. It's a lot. I think this one is nah, bro, for me as well. Go besides the fact that that's a teenager's corpse. Kurogiri is also just a machine at the end of the day. He is doing everything, he is doing a whole lot, and All for One, there's rule 34 here, for sure. But if you're talking about like a genuine like, oh, chemistry or just what I'd like to see, this is not one of them. They could probably do, oh, they're both wearing masks, you can't see their face things, which, eh. All right, next, Redestro and Curious. Now, this is something that we got a little bit of something may have been here in the original series. I say may have been because Curious is fucking dead. When they originally met up, there was like a sense of admiration. Redestro was like talking to her about like, oh, this is how you can really inspire people with your writing. She clearly was like into that, very impressed with his vision and like his vision for her. I think I can see the vision for this one, but it is a case where it's like, okay, boss, assistant, there's something steamy that can be written, but I just have a hard time shipping Redestro with most people. I keep wanting to imagine Doofenshmirtz in all of it. He's also a guy that, like, how he starts and how cool he was versus what he ends up doing is it's a lot of whiplash. So this being the case, it makes him a little bit flippant, like, who am I gonna ship him with versus like what his actual vibe is. As it's changed, there's a clear delineation between the two stages. So if I think for this one, I think I'm just gonna go not for me. As she's gone, she's barely mentioned at all. It's like, it doesn't hook me enough to really like come up with anything. Versus the other one where, again, he's apparently 20. It's not good, but oh yeah, I'm not gonna get rated apparently. So, Shigaraki x Aizawa. And this one's based on the fact that they're both tired, exhausted, and have that little bit of rattiness to them that people love. Now, we can see a little bit of a rivalry here. Aizawa is very crucial to so many of the Shigaraki fights, as his quirk is the only thing that can stop this fucker. As otherwise, it's basically a one-hit KO on everyone in a 10-mile radius. He did force Aizawa to cut off his own leg. I think I just prefer these two more as like a father-son vibe than I would like anything romantic. I think this is kind of just not for me. There's definitely a good story to be written with these two together, just interacting. But as a ship, it's like, no. Apprentice, master, yeah, that'd be cool. Nah, bro. No, not for me. All right, Redestro x Giran. Giran, I think's the name. This is just not for me. Giran is basically obsessed with like Redestro, trying to prove his strength, basically helped validate his entire existence and formed his entire mentality of what he was trying to be and what he aspired to be. AKA using his quirk and developing only that at the expense of basically all his other life skills. He wears a parka a lot, is related to the Todoroki family via the mom, and that's kind of it. Honestly, he's a better fit for Dabi just aesthetically. They have a quick fight / rivalry we almost see. These two though, not for me. Sorry, all these Redestro shots, they came in strong. I love the pick, but it just isn't hitting. All right, next up we got Kurogiri x Shigaraki. Now, Kurogiri is basically Shigaraki's butler. He is the Alfred to... No, he really is Shigaraki's Alfred at this point. He's the guy who is slightly butlerish, helping him get his shit done, and kind of bailing his ass out whenever things get too hot. The only thing that really keeps this from being anything interesting, though, is that Kurogiri is very much, again, limited. He is very specific, slightly... not a full range. They are kind of partners, they work together. But we never see Shigaraki get like choked about Kurogiri getting captured, just an inconvenience. We never get that full range of emotions, which again, something we're kind of lacking in the Shigaraki side of the story. So I think for these two, yeah, let's fuck it. He's known since he's a child, so let's just call the thing a thing. Next up, Shigaraki and All Might. So this is basically already a ship, except it's just hatred instead of love. And Shigaraki basically sees All Might as responsible for his entire existence because of what he did to society. So in response to a world that doesn't help children because reasons, Shigaraki wants to destroy the world and everything All Might represents. Again, this is another case where it is such a fascinating dynamic that these two could have if you put them in the same room. Shigaraki is, again, the grandson of All Might's mentor. He means so much to All Might, and just, it's unclear if he'd be able to even fight the guy if he was at his prime and hadn't run out of his quirk. But this is ships. Romantic ships. This is ringing a lot of alarms. So we're just gonna do, nah, bro. Because, yeah, no. They're not dating. No. All right, next up, Overhaul and Twice. Now this one has some spice to it because Overhaul actually got underneath Twice's skin, who was enraged at the death of Magni, and Overhaul thinks of Twice as a clown. Now this is not for me. I'm not gonna fucking even like drag this one out. I mean, they exist, they talk. Apparently they paid for therapy or something. No, that's wrong. But yeah, Overhaul and Twice. It's not anything. I like seeing Twice fuck him over, but that's about it. All right, next up, not Overhaul. All for One in Giganto Machina. A man and his dog.
I don't like this. Oh God!
You want that master-slave relationship? If you want that master-pet relationship, this is it. If you want something from the Omegaverse, there's other options, but this is the closest one we have in canon. So, it exists. I see the vision. All for One in his Nomu. Not for me because it's boring. All for One X Nana. This is a case where All Might is eating this girl's lunch. Just as couples go, she is the one who got killed, and anything that is super interesting is being done better by that ship. So this one, well, interesting. It's not giving me a whole lot that I can't do better things with someplace else. So with that being the case, I'm just gonna do not for me and ignore any and all other implications about what would go on here. All right, next up is Twice and Hawks. Speaking of things that would go on, the murderer, aka the murderer and his victim. Yeah, this one's 7 out of 10 for me. I think Twice and Hawks are super fun together, despite how it happens at the end. I like that Hawks, out of everyone, is like one of the few people, on the hero side especially, to recognize just how tragic Twice's life is. It does something for me. It is interesting enough to see how they interact, and I do enjoy just the general vibe that these two have going on. As Hawks, yeah, he's goofy, but he can also be so serious. Twice, goofy, but he can also be so serious. I just enjoy it. I love it when they interact, and I definitely would like to see more of them, despite how things all end. Right, moving on to Shigaraki and Twice. Shigaraki gets taken over by All for One after this, so he really doesn't fucking talk about Twice ever. Yeah, I think there's just really not too much here. I like Twice. I don't think I ever love him like romantically with Shigaraki. They have the whole sequence where it's like, oh, how he feels makes us like, oh, it's spinning around. He's basically enabling us to be ourselves after society told us no. I see Shigaraki as an inspiration for Twice, but versus like the complexity of Hawks or like the genuineness Twice feels for like Toga and the others, this is just kind of disjointed in a way that I'm like, okay, it could happen, but could also not, and I would not care. This is not for me. Oh yes, Redestro X Slide and Go. Nah, bro. Because they bore me. Alright, next up, Shigaraki X Spinner. The one and only character that Shigaraki can pretend to call a friend. Now, if you told me Spinner was in love with Shigaraki, I would 100% believe it. You have to change so little in the story to actually make that canon. Really take him from the inspiration and make him the inspiration, and you're basically done. You have to change nothing else. Spinner is already devoting the rest of his life to telling Shigaraki's story. If that isn't true love, or an unhealthy relationship, I don't know what is. Here's the fucked up part. I think the show doesn't give me that, like, I like it, don't love it. However, the fan art is so fucking good. People make these two so adorable and everything when they're just gamer kids together, that if you're being honest, I think this is alright, purely based on that, nothing else. The fans have been feeding these two so well, and because of that, I'm willing to just put it almost up there. It's good, it's very fun, but I think it's the fans that really make this one great. Alright, next up, Shigaraki and Uraraka.
You basic.
Now, if Toga didn't exist, this would be a lot higher. Because there has to be a villain heroine couple in here somewhere. And in any other show, this would be more of a thing. The moment though is just see the vision. As they are so disjointed, I think it would be cute. But there are so many other pairings of Uraraka that I like more that I can't justify this going any higher. Alright, next up, Overhaul and Toga. Alright, this one is about at the same level as Twice and Overhaul, so not for me, that feels about right. Next up, we got 9 and not Medusa. These two I feel like are a canonical couple. They had a whole thing. And they are completely forgettable in their movies, so nah, bro. Why bother? It's crazy how they can do so much, try and make a villain cool, imply that he has something else going on. Sorry, some ships just aren't worth getting invested in, even when they're fucking canon. Let's talk about Inko and fucking Deku's not present dad. The fact that Deku technically has a father is insane to me. Like, he, legally, they're not divorced, they're together, he just spends some time overseas, and his presence in the story is nada. He is nowhere to be found. There's no congratulations, there's no congrats on getting in your school, there's no, hi, son, your dream, you've done it. I disapprove. Inko is basically a single parent, and the fact that technically the guy exists just sends me every time, and that they're actually together. Like, it makes it so easy to ship Inko with other people, All Might, and I just enjoy that. I very much enjoy that. I, personally, think it's just so funny. It's so funny how little this man is given just so we can make the Deku finding a father and All Might thing work so much more obvious. I'm just gonna put this at bottom of the barrel because Horikoshi has put in no work in this other man, so yeah, it's all the way down there. All right, Twice and Mr. Compress. Why'd I say it like that? Compress. All right, these two. I'm shocked that both of them are actually hot underneath their masks. Like, Mr. Compress, like, is the one thing I was like, you got the reveals, like, oh, he's actually a twink. And that blew my mind. Also, there's this whole dramatic backstory that made him seem like a D&D character. It's like, oh, I'm actually the son of bloody blah, blah-biddy blah. And it's like, okay, bro, I didn't need to know any of that. You're just doing your thing. Okay, cool. So this is a pairing. That's the best I can say. It's a pairing, it's a thing. And Twice is just better off with other people. And I'll eventually talk about one of them. All right, next up, Shigaraki x Stain. These two absolutely would get in heated debates on 4chan about whether or not All Might is great or is terrible. They have similar fucking dumpster baby. I keep wanting to not use vibes, but it's aesthetics. Let's use that as a fill-in word. Aesthetic. So these two's aesthetic is violence. They feel like they are going to be perpetually online talking shit to each other than they mean in real life and still hate each other. This, I feel like, could be something more, but it's also not anything that I personally find worth exploring. It's fine, but it's not for me. Their whole relationship is based on a third party, so it makes it like, okay, no, they have intense or like feelings. It's like, no, this is like because we disagree about one guy. So it's less amazing, or like if they were like, okay, no, I fucking hate you specifically. All right, next up, Shigaraki x Stars and Stripes. Now this is hard because Shigaraki basically was all for one when they fought, so he hasn't really met her and she dies immediately.
You saved me.
For what felt like a CinemaSins moment, like, oh, what happened to the other heroes of the world? Pretty much. This is just fucking Stain again. Where the fuck did I put him? Yeah, they're going right next one. This is like the same level. Honestly, Stain has more going on, so let me just put that in nah, bro, just because they shouldn't be. But moving on, we have Mirio and Sun Eater, the Naruto and Sasuke of My Hero. This couple, in my personal opinion, is canon. 100%. This is absolutely a thing, as Sun Eater is basically made his entire personality, named his own hero self after Mirio, and that is great to me. That is so fucking, like, it's just true. You could say like, oh, they're just friends, but it's a friendship that is life-defining, and just based on everything that we have, of Sun Eater being the one who's like recognized Mirio's hard work, his tenacity, and being the one to hype him up even when he's face first against a wall. Golden Retriever, Black Cat, we all know and love it. So for this case, yeah, it's all right. If we had a little bit more, just a couple more scenes of them interacting, this could absolutely be top tier. But it's missing that extra zest. I remember being obsessed with this when it first came out. We started getting those chapters. But as present, it does feel like the energy is going more towards like Deku and Mirio. So this is kind of like hit the bit of a snag, but in our hearts we know this is, or should have been, OTP. All right, moving on, Mirio and Nejire. Now, these two are, well, Nejire kind of got fucked by the story. For what is supposed to be the big three, it's really the main two, actually the one, plus his plus one, then the other one. She is not given nearly as much, though she is tidbits over the shoulder, basically scraps. I do remember the chapter where she talked about her backstory, about how she wasn't fully this excitable girl that we see at the start of the series. She was a little bit more introvert earlier on, which that is cute. That is like, okay, more inspiration going, but still not for me. The only way this truly would like have a better shot of ranking higher is if it's just a throuple situation. But even then, it's still Mirio and Sun Eater, and the one who's kind of there. Kind of about it. Sorry. All right, now Mirio jumped Momo naked. It happened. It was a thing. I have no opinion. Not for me. All right, Mirio x Minetta. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about these two. Just put this in nah, bro, and move on. All right, Nejire x Sun Eater. That is same shit. Mirio and Sun Eater are, again, up there. Other two are just around, and this is, the spare has already been paired, so not happening. All right, Mirako x Aizawa. This is good. I like this. I don't think it's like the best ship, but like popularity goes, I feel like these two are semi up there, not huge, but it's enjoyable enough. I can kind of see the vision as if you want, they're like basically the two main aesthetics I often see praised so much. You basically have the waifu and the tired Tumblr man, which on the shelf, yeah, that kind of works. They're popular for a reason on their own. Them being together, I think it could be at least something interesting, but I do feel like Mirako feels more like one of Aizawa's students than someone he'd actually be partnered with. So I think I'm just gonna put them as see the vision. All right, Mirako x Hawks.
Popular, I'll help you be popular.
This is so popular. This one is so insanely popular. And I'm like, not against it, but the chokehold this has on people is so insane. This is another Venn diagram ship where it's like, I can see a bit of the appeal, but overwhelmingly it's like, no. The people who love Mirako love Hawks. It goes vice versa, so it just kind of became the default in a lot of fan art that I've seen. Though personally, I'm honestly gonna put this in alright purely as a thank you to Zeno Robinson, who is the voice actor for Hawks and Mirako's #1 soldier. That man has put so much goddamn fan art and cosplay on my timeline since I started following him that, okay, love for him. I'm gonna rank this one pretty fucking high. All right, moving on. Minetta x Mount Lady.
Oh, hell no!
Yeah, by default, this is where this one goes. You could like say some shit about Mount Lady getting Minetta's act together, but not really. So this is just a grown woman and a guy who looks like he's still in kindergarten, essentially. Not to disrespect short kings, though clearly this guy is not a king. So we're just gonna rank it low. And you know what, fuck it. Minetta's in this relationship, and so we drop it down a rank. Bottom of the barrel. All right, after that we got La Brava and Gentle Criminal. I honestly love these two together. As far as like joke villains go, like villains of the week that we don't have to put too much effort in, but actually still enjoy, these are some of the best My Hero ever made. Their relationship is adorable, even if it does start fucking weird. Where Gentle, I love Gentle's backstory so much. The burnout who tried to become a hero later in life, or just like become famous really, only to not really do that, had a failing YouTube channel. Then one of his fans stalked him to his house, and then they kind of got into a relationship. Okay, sorry, this is the real Betty x fucking Simon relationship in My Hero. It's a lot of red flags. If you wrote this out on paper on how these two technically met, there is some lip service being paid. Gentle was like, I was scared when she showed up my door. I know it was weird. I know I am significantly older. This is my fucking fan who apparently was having thoughts before she found me. So this is vulnerable, dark place, found and went over to obsess over him. You could easily write these two as being like father-daughter to a certain extent, but no, they're in a loving relationship. I really like these two together. I think they are great. The fact of how they ended up is yikes. But if we're just taking the two as they are when they're introduced, not the backstory, do I want the... Yeah, fuck it. They're top tier. I love these two so much. They are adorable. Red flags be damned. All right, next up is La Brava and Minetta. Bottom of that motherfucking barrel. And they're only really here together because, well, they kind of both are chibi and short, so people just assumed that they might be the same age. It's a similar look kind of thing, and that's it. All right, next up we got Mandalay. Sorry, let me double check this, because all the flying pussycats blend together to me. Or at least their names do. Pixie Bob. Pixie Bob and Tiger. Also Tiger is trans for those who didn't know. I know the story doesn't mention it, but it comes up in trivia. All right, next up is Nejire and her one friend who convinced her to go into the beauty pageant. Haya. Nejire x Haya. It's good. It's fine. See the vision. Give her something else besides the big three, essentially. All right, next up we got Sir Night-Eye and Bubble Girl. A fan design that was submitted, became an actual character, amazing, good. It's mostly here for the horny. Night-Eye is her employee. He strapped her to a torture machine to make her laugh.
Yikes.
If she did not sufficiently deliver her report comedically enough. There is a fat lawsuit waiting to happen here. But as a couple, I think this one's just not for me. Not for or against it, it just exists. And the guy's dead, so I don't have to worry about it ever happening. All right, Pixie Bob and Ragdoll. Honestly, Ragdoll's better off with Tiger. Oh no, we're gonna get that. I'll bring it up when it's relevant to that exact ship. These two are not for me. Overhaul and Lady Nagant. Now this is just fail husband and breadwinning wife. They fucking start with this man on the ground crying about going to see his boss, and Nagant just going, be quiet, babe. We'll get food on the way home. I gotta go kill a child. It's a fun idea that I kind of like, even though I don't think like in practice, in story, it's anything of particular note. Low-key, really it's like, why is Overhaul really even here? But it's fun. The idea of what you could make this is very entertaining, even if what we actually get, it isn't. They're both on the shadowy sides of society, and now they were in prison. Changes a person. Kind of like exploding, which they do both share that trait too. Okay, next up we got Mount Lady and Kamui Woods. This one is canon, they are banging. Cute little start about Mount Lady stealing Kamui's thunder, and I think that's just cute. It's a fun little background story, like, okay, they are clearly growing closer. They start a little bit like at odds, kind of showing like, oh, the more popularity-based side of Hero Society. But as far as like background shit is going, them trying to hold back Giganta was absolutely hype. Like that teamwork is actually crazy, and them trying to stop that monster. So for this one, I don't know, I'm feeling it. I'm gonna do it 7 out of 10. All right, next up is the thing I almost talked about, and it is Pixie Bob X Children. This is a teacher that straight up said, yeah, call me when you kids are 18. It was something that was actually basically said. And this wasn't like, oh, hook me up when you're older. Like, oh, you might be hotter when you're older. No, this was, oh, so much potential. I'm like, oh, do we really need that in the story? Like, do we really? So this one is, what else? All right, so Class A is basically the main characters plus friends. Class B is the extras who we acknowledge still exist. All the other schools are basically garbage, as they don't matter. Literally do not matter. But we do have one small, what could be a couple, that is Shindo and the Tummy Tuck, whatever the fuck, I forget the quirk's name. But this is a case of it existing. And nah. I just don't have anything to say. What else do you want? They're like, oh, we can break down the minutia of the one look in the 5 panels that they actually exist in the story. All right, moving on. We have Mirako and Fat Gum. Now, these two are top tier. And I'm basing this purely on one piece of fan art. This one thing was an explosion in my brain that made me go, yeah, I fuck with this. I really could like this. And it's, yeah, we don't have enough big boys in what is essentially anime with the most wild appearances imaginable. And it's like, okay, Fat Gum. He looks adorable. Then it turns out, oh, he's super mode makes him hot. And if you only like him at his worst, well, you can't have him at his best. This honestly is so adorable to me that I was like, yeah. Out of all Mirko ships, the ones I'm like, okay, they exist, it could happen. Basically everything that isn't like the fans thirsting in the biggest ship of all, Horikoshi x Mirko. I like this. I really adore this. So it's going up, and there's nothing any of you can do to stop me. All right, next up we got Sir Night-Eye and Miss Joke. I just gotta double check if it's joke or jokes. It's Miss Joke. Now, Sir Night-Eye is a man who loves comedy. That is his main thing. It is the dichotomy between the world's most serious-looking businessman, the most uptight with the fattest dick in his ass, who also just happens to love comedy. So naturally, if he were to ever pick a partner, which could grow to something more, yeah, Miss Joke would be right up his alley, and it's honestly shocking. Well, not really. The man's dead.
Saint-like. Come again? Saint-like. I'm holy.
This so they can interact. But as a concept, just a hot, quick, don't think about it too much ship, yeah, I can see the vision here. Even though, again, Miss Joke. Oh my god. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, fuck it, it's not that far away, but it's close. Aizawa and Miss Joke are going to be top tier. Yeah, easily. Sir Night-Eye and Ryukyo? The Dragon Lady. Not the stereotype. They exist. Not for me. Alright, next up we got Pixie Bob and Mandalay. A couple that exists that I approve of purely because it keeps one of them out of jail. I Guess I can see the vision here. I mean, they feel like they would have a marriage pact where they would hook up if they didn't have anyone by the time they were 26. And then they just decide, wow, we probably should have set that date to be earlier. I can see the vision here. It's just not giving me much. All right, next up we got Froppy and Sero, and this is fine. I don't have anything negative to say about these two, but it's just, they have similar powers. They could be a fun crime-fighting team where they both go out and try not to get sued by Spider-Man. But it's good. It's fine, but still not for me. Sero, love the design. Not in the series enough to really make me say, okay, what about his love life? It just is here. All right, Iida and Uraraka is really cute to me. This is adorable. Way more than it has any right to be. Initially in the series, I thought Uraraka, Iida, and Deku were gonna be like the main three. They were gonna be Squad 7. They were gonna be the characters that we follow while everyone else is kind of like rivals. But this is gonna be the squad. And then they weren't the squad. After the first quarter, fifth, sixth of the story, they just kind of go off and do their own separate things. They start doing the little scraps they were given by the story. Iida and Uraraka, I kind of adore them, just like maybe just as friends. They are so funny early in the story. I personally could fully get behind them, as when it comes to just those early social interactions, they're great. They're amazing. They're so much of why I was so heartbroken why that squad got broken up. Honestly, for how much they joke like, oh, it's either Iida or Deku for who Uraraka has a crush on, I think I kind of would have preferred it if it was Iida. There. I'm getting this out of the way. I have opinions on Deku and Uraraka, but this couple, I think it's all right. Oh yeah, this is gonna be so fun at the end. All right, Iida and Momo. Now, I already said my shit about Todoroki and Momo, so naturally Iida and Momo have to be higher. I enjoy these two. They are class prez and vice prez together, which is nothing in American schools, but in anime it is apparently everything. But these two, I do feel like they have more of a fun flavor to them than just Todoroki and Momo, which is like a whole array. Like, you have a small dating circle when you have that much money. It's like, okay, only stick with our people. It's like, yeah, he's from a historically heroic family, but his quirks and mannerisms add a lot more personality to what would otherwise be a very stiff upper lip couple. They could be fun. I think out of all of Momo's ships, this is one of the ones that I like the most. 7 out of 10, and it kind of sucks that these two are basically the two high schoolers who do look like they're apparently adults. Like, you would tell me Iida is like early 20s and I would fully believe it. Same with Momo. All right, next up, Iida and Minetta. In this case, Iida is the one calling the FBI. All right, Iida and Mei. Now, Mei originally tricked him into helping her show off her material, turning him into what is basically an advertisement for all of her products. And I find that funny. This is entertaining to me, and for Iida to be so intense about being the best, about choosing what he wants to do next. I think that this could be something. I like the vision. No, yeah, it's just see the vision. I can't. Well, I think it'd be cute. I don't feel like I can rank it that high. All right, next up, Iida x Stain, because we need more villain x hero ships, essentially. Now, Stain messed up Iida's brother, made it so he can't ever be a hero again, and Iida went out for revenge, losing sight of what it means to be an actual hero. Stain had his big speech because we know this man loves a soapbox and spoke some actual truth, but overall I don't think I'm like that in love with it. There's a lot of great stuff that came out of that arc, but me trying to pitch these two is like, not really. Like, you can see some of the appeal, it has all the tags. Honestly, someone could probably write a really good YA story about these two based on purely those. But I think for me it's just, well, yeah, that does push it back into there. Yeah, that's the thing. All right, next up, Jiro x Minetta. This is, sadly, again, one of Minetta's better ships. We see that Jiro is a little bit peeved that she was the only one Minetta wasn't clamoring to perv on, which, flared up ye olde insecurities about not being as well developed as her friends. Personally, I still don't fuck with it. Because they both deserve better. Sorry. Both as in Kaminari and Jiro. They deserve better. No, bro. It is one of his better ideas. Just if I'm gonna force this onto anyone, let's just Froppy's taking the L on this list for us. Iida x Fumikage is good enough. No strong opinions, fun little bits that you could probably expand upon, but when it comes to the ship, no, it's not there. It's just really not there. It'd be nice to put in not for me. Alright, Kirishima x Tetsu. These two are basically the same person. So, technically it would be considered masturbation at this point. It's amazing how these two started out as such grunts, like you do not think anything special is ever gonna be done with them. It is so crazy that just being a copy makes him more interesting, as you have to explore that extra dynamic, like, oh yeah, I'm a lesser version of someone else. And just that little bit of characterization, that little bit of like a dilemma, promotes Tetsu to being one of the more popular or relevant members of Class 2. I think I could really enjoy their bromance. Their whole internship thing is adorable. These two are gonna be good friends. And yeah, more than that. 7 out of 10. Alright, next up, Kirishima x Sun Eater. Now this one is on here because they work together, kind of about it. Kirishima is, like, again, a kind of like character to Mirio, so you can see why Sun Eater would kind of gravitate towards that energy. Exuberant, happy. Kirishima does doubt himself, he has a lot more insecurities that actually does make him and Sun Eater a lot more similar. Just one chose to be more exuberant to cover up for the fact, while the other one is still being held back by all of that negativity, even though they are a fucking badass. I can kinda see the vision. It'd be fine. It'd be good. They're both clearly into men, so I'm willing to just give this a see the vision, as I know someone's gonna see it and run with it. And I'd support it. Shoji x Minetta.
Oh god.
So shockingly, everyone's gonna assume the worst, but no, they're apparently the same age. Now, I think this is just whatever. They have a cute moment in the, what was it, horse race centaur thing? But basically they're on the same team. Minetta comes up with a semi-good idea that Shoji's like, you know, that actually might work. And that's kind of the extent of it. Their interactions are minimum, but if you're trying to work with them to be something more, this is one of the more productive couples that you can maybe do something with. So I'm just gonna put this as not for me. Followed up with Minetta x Midnight. The female teachers here, just a lot of them do have weird moments where it's like, oh, the potential. And it's always just a little bit horny, and I'm always like, ugh. We would not be doing this if it were one of the male teachers talking about his female students. Aizawa would not be giving this vibe, but she's a dominatrix, so it's on theme. But no. Alright, Shoji x Fumikage. This one's actually has more potential than you think. I'm putting this as see the vision, as what really gets this one is that Fumikage, after seeing Shoji lose one of his octopus arms, loses his mind for the first time, letting his shadow go completely out of control, and that inspiration did make for a really dope moment. If you want to expand upon that into something even more interesting, that would actually just expand their relationship to be more than just that one thing, then yeah, you're totally down for it. Also, not saying this is like a full dig, there are so many fucking people that it's not surprising not every person in Class 1A has a fully developed relationship. But if we're talking ships and what we are trying to grasp from it and then mold into something else or grow ourselves, you have basically the one moment. They fought to save each other, they realized Shoji was like, no, it's actually kind of okay, but Fumi just assumed the worst. And I feel like that just goes to show he kind of cares. A lot. And you can do a lot with that, so see the vision. Alright, next up, Fumikage and Hawks. We're birds of a feather. I'm getting so much use out of this clip. You know exactly the right amount. Right, Jiro x Momo. Now Jiro x Momo is here because Jiro's one of the few girls who's like, babe, please cover up, there be perverts. She is very impressed with the assets. And that kind of spat out to be like, okay, if you're looking for early sapphics, this was very popular. Kind of faded out as other ones took the center stage. But if we're looking for someone to get a little bit of something, I think if we expand more upon this later, this could definitely be 7 out of 10, but as is, it's kind of just see the vision. The prevalence of their relationship kind of faded out as things went on, and it became like, okay, that was just a gag. So it's gonna be kept there. All right, next up we got Koda x Shoji. All right, next we got Koda x Shoji. Why do I keep dropping my voice myself? Koda x Shoji. Koda x Shoji. Whatever, good enough. These two are interesting because they're the only two mutants on their whole class. Minetta is just like that, I guess? But these two have a history of dealing with just the stigma of being... I still can't believe they did a full racism subplot just at the last fucking minute of the story. And their whole answer to that was like, hey, don't kill people. That was it. And these two basically are like, okay, we're gonna go full, speak our truth, be a kind of a cliff notes of a bigger idea that could have been really dug up more. But honestly, I feel like I see these two more as brothers than anything else. I could definitely see these two being protective and caring for one another. Koda's kind of the big quiet kid that would easily get bullied in some other schools. Shoji's a big stern guy who would absolutely be his protector. I can see the vision here, but my issues are just with other things that they did. But I don't feel like their actual use in the story is all that good. Oh yeah, his name is Sato! Nobody loves Sato. He is so... Oh, it's so fucked. It's like, everyone in class 1A has basically... They're not gonna be all winners, they're not gonna be super deep characters. Not everyone's gonna be as likable as Mina. But if we had to pick the one guy to just get fucked, to not get anything really from this story, not a relationship, not a character moment, nothing, it's Sato. The man and his donut lips. Yeah, those things. He didn't get anything. He did not get squat in this show. He's good at cake, won the apartment contest, and that's all he's been given. His power is that he basically gets sugar highs that become actual super strength. He received nothing. I don't think he has any super meaningful relationships with any of his classmates that's actually explored. So him, I gotta put him at the bottom of the barrel because that's where Horikoshi put him and just has never done anything with. I'm not even gonna pretend why Koda and Sato are here, they just are, so not for me. Tell me if this is a ship that you like. Let me know down below, comment, subscribe, because as is, I'm just... It's here. That's about it. Moving on, Fumikage X. I'm sure there's Kuro is because that means black is somewhere in his name, but it's not Kurogiri. Shihai Kuro Iro. One of the few transliterations I know. So Shadow and Darkness over here, they're edgelords. It's so funny. When these two showed up and said, oh, we have a rivalry going, we're both followers, friends of the darkness, that was enough. These two immediately popped onto my shelf. They were immediately like, okay, this is good. Even if it was like a little bit of a fake out, I'm still loving the vibe because this is actual fun and it gives me something to really talk about other than an unhappy marriage. 7 out of 10, the memes were worth it. Koda x Jiro, it's fun. This is like Koda's one moment before his final one in the series. They both have sound-based powers to a certain extent. Koda can talk to animals. Jiro is super hearing in those beats. I can see the vision. I can imagine it. They have one small win, but it's just not for me. It's classmates that got together. They could be something. It's not really expand upon. Jiro has a better match somewhere else. And is that fucking Minetta? Oh my god, I forgot I did Minetta and Eri. Okay, these two. No. And if you ask me, well, why would you put that on the video? That is, I didn't put there because I found that in the wiki. I put that there because it was mentioned in the show.
Minetta, hey there. Man, you're gonna be a looker, aren't you?
Stop it, please, I beg you!
Yeah, that might be Minetta's worst line. By far. Just, no. Fuck no. Why? This one moment was like, okay, gag character, but still like a character in his own right. And this one was like, no, the author had a joke. And I don't think even the character would actually say that out loud. All right, next up is Minetta and Momo. Now, these two are basically every 2000s rom-com of the nerdy little guy ending up with a woman that is super hot, and that's it. It's a rom-com. An outdated one. Otherwise, if you look at how they're actually depicted, we get, well...
How could this happen? 2 birds with 1 stone? I'm a genius.
Yeah, FBI, open up. We're not tolerating this shit. All right, next up, All Might and Sir Night-Eye. Outside Mirio and Sun Eater, All Might and Sir Night-Eye have the biggest X's energy of anyone in this show. Truly, they are best example of this. All Might was originally the superhero with Night-Eye as his sidekick. These two polar opposites, the kind of order to all of All Might's charisma and winging it, aka the heroic stupidity versus the let's think about what we're doing first, and it's enjoyable. And it took the one guy dying for them to really bury the hatchet, and unfortunately one of them happened to be him.
After all, without joy and laughter to balance the sorrow.
It's tragic, it's sad. You can imagine just what they could have been. Everything Night-Eye has done up until this point has been to try and save All Might by creating an even superior successor, only for it all to be for naught. But then Night-Eye turned around and became arguably the best dad in the show, as he just told Mirio everything was gonna be okay. I think All Might can take some dad lessons from this man, and definitely all of the teacher ones too. Personally, I think this is like 7 out of 10. I vibe with it. All right, next up is All Might and his policeman best friend. See the vision? This is like one of those characters that I consistently forget exists. I straight up thought he didn't have a quirk till it was revealed, like, yeah, he does, he can detect lies, I think. But he's so easily forgotten, even if he does know a lot of All Might's history. The relationship is very utilitarian for the story. It's like to reveal information, have a little bit be vocalized, but you're never getting like some context to how they interact or just what they've been through together. This is always kind of like a longtime friend, but that's kind of just the end to what we know about them. All right, another longtime friend. This one's not for me because I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen the abridged. All Might X All for One. The classic villain versus hero nemesis situation that's pretty much at the heart of most shonen. This one is not as good as you would like, or like I would think. Though actually, no, hold on, I actually thought about it a little more. Yeah, no, All for One X All Might is really fun. I think All for One is hilarious in that he is so on top of his shit, all these master plans, true classic villain, and then he will just indulge in the most petty, throw his plans away just for one last chance to screw with his hated enemy. The man sought out the grandson of his arch enemy's master just to fuck with All Might. Literally, the reason he picked Shigaraki was just this. He just wanted to spite All Might. And that is peak villain behavior. I love that shit. But I feel like I like it more for All for One's more shitty behavior than I do like All Might hating All for One, because I don't feel like they interact fully enough to get that fun villain banter going on. I like that they exist. I do like their dynamic. It's just not really like, okay, I want this to be romantic kind of thing. I think this for me is a 7 out of 10, as it's good, it's fun, but it's not everything. It's not all consuming. I think it has a lot of things that make it better than what some of All for One's other options, as truly it's the only one he really has, fandom wise. All right, we got Toga Shigaraki exists. There's great fan art for this one. I can fully see the vision here. But in show, it is not something that I've ever personally gravitated towards. It's fine. If you want Shigaraki to have a het relationship, this is. The only thing in a 20-mile radius they have like some material for, it exists because straights. Next up we got Toga x Froppy, aka What That Tongue Do? And she cuts people. Should be a companion piece to another ship I'm about to talk about, but it's essentially, it's Uraraka and Toga but worse. There's less evidence for it. It's not as dwelt upon, the emotional scenes aren't really as present, and it's always kind of the afterthought. It's kind of Friends in Toga's way of doing Friends. And personally, it's not something I've ever fully loved, because I've never fully loved Toga. Yeah, this is gonna be so fun later. It's fine, see the vision. Actually, fuck it, not for me. All right, Toga x Curious, goodbye. Congrats for just getting name dropped. All Might x Stain.
No matter how terrible the situation, All Might smiled as he faced the insurmountable.
You know, it's funny that I can actually see this in a gentle / La Brava way. AKA we have the Star and their Stalker. But Stain is more interesting for like what he thinks All Might represents than anything to do with like the man himself. I don't think All Might gets that much out of a relationship with Stain than how much Stain would get out of a relationship with All Might. As All Might could help guide Stain to be slightly better, to get off of like this absolutely insane hyperfixation on purging the world of fake heroes, and I feel like that would have some value. Overall though, it's not a ship that I fully fuck with. It kind of just exists. They both got skinny and way too skinny things going on. I'm just gonna chalk this up to not for me. Okay, Eraserhead x Vlad King has less relevance than Team B. Class B. I can't remember their fucking class. It's a class. Yeah, this Aizawa has so many more interesting ships. I have to preempt all that by talking about this kind of nobody. Now, if you like the aesthetic, that's one thing, but that's all they're giving us. It gives me nothing. Nah, bro. Ooh, we are almost at the end. Only 40-something more ships to go. Game time. Aizawa x Shirakumo is sad. If you want a tragic queer relationship, this is what you can go to, as this is just, it's fucking sad in a heroic, oh no, hero world sense. You have the friend that you thought was gonna spend the rest of your life with, only for things to go south because of a tragic accident, and then that friend gets brought back from the dead because science. Tale as old as time, and the fact that we get brief moments, brief hints where it's like something Shiro might be able to come back because he gets turned into Kirogiri, to never follow through, that this is truly lost. And I think that loss is so good because it sucks, but it's the good kind of tragedy where like, yeah, that's how things turned out. I like this. I think it's a 7 out of 10. It's good. However, when it comes to like what we actually see, I have not read Vigilante, so I don't have enough of the full backstory for them. But just in the show proper, I still really enjoy it. I feel like it's again a case of like, okay, it's not the actual relationship, it's the loss of said relationship that actually really catches me, or really attracts me to it. So I'm going full 7 out of 10. Really like this one. Next up we have Aizawa and Crust. Let's just go, nah bro, because that man, he's Ash. He's nothing. Gave his life, but Crust is more obsessed with All Might than he is with Aizawa. It's just a cute thing that happens. Also, Aizawa x Kirogiri is just,
but I don't care.
Not for me. There is a tragic fate that can be written, but my attachment is again to the loss, not the actual present relationship that we saw. So Aizawa being in love with like this dark form of him, even if you're like, oh, he's bringing his friend back through the power of love, it's still not giving me a whole lot of feels. It just, is kind of there because Kurogiri is just such a weird character conceptually. As like, yeah, he's kind of his own person, but he's also kind of a machine. He is this former guy as well. He's technically still a teenager because that was when his body died. It's a whole lot of a lot. I like what he was. Presently, I don't see much romantic potential in anything that I want to explore. If we're doing this post-Kurogiri world in the ship, I'd rather see Aizawa with present Mike over the other one. That's kind of just where I'm at. All right, Aizawa X Midnight. I'm gonna go nah, bro, because I just don't feel it. Not in the slightest. Toga X Twice is fine. For as much emotional devastation Twice's death has on Toga, I love seeing her fucking rage out after this. The actual, like, ship itself is kind of just okay. It's like, I love their connection, I just don't really need this one to be romantic. I feel like it's closer as a family, it's more valuable to me in that sense, in that angle. So Toga fully, like, she loves everyone. She has a lot of difficulty distinguishing that type of love versus like her own impulses. Yeah, there's totally a case where you can argue Toga loved Twice. But it's also a case like, okay, there's gonna be some cute moments. I can definitely see some great slice of life fan art, but I also ambivalent. Could be something, could be nothing. I'm just gonna be nice and put this in See the Vision, as I feel like I can sleep at night and not get murdered saying that. All right, next up is Aizawa X Deku's mom.
You're hot.
This is pretty high on the list, I'm not gonna lie. This is not All Might high, but it's pretty up there. Aizawa's great in that he is a father figure to a kid who apparently has a father. So for me, I think this is, he's so tired. He definitely needs some nice, good home cooking. He needs someone to make sure that he like actually gets to bed, and he would kill anyone for her, which I really do appreciate and don't see from All Might. You know what, fuck it, I'll put this one in all right. It speaks to me in a way I can't really describe. Present Mike and Shirakumo is good, it's just not as good as Aizawa and Shirakumo. I definitely see them all being a thing together. Same level, lower end of the spectrum. That's where I'm putting this one. As Present Mike is devastated when he finds out the truth, and that really speaks to ya. It's good to me, but it's, again, not great, and more about how the character feels than how like the couple actually would work. All right, moving on. Aizawa and Miss Joke. Yeah, I'll put this in all right too. Because this couple, it's so easy, it's so funny. The guy who is perpetually tired and exhausted, not a funny bone in his body, and the woman who is like, yeah, I'm into all of that, and he is eventually going to marry her. It's good, it's fun, not anything too complicated, but this is a simple meal well made, and I feel like a lot of people do ship it. Characters in universe already do. Okay, next up is Toga X Uraraka. But yeah, this is, it's whatever. It's See the Vision for other people. I lied, this is not for me. I don't fucking care about it. Toga X Dabi the house elf, could not care less. Aizawa X Present Mike, that is alright, these two are basically living together in my head. Present Mike Kurogiri, yeah, this is nah bro for me. This one is All Might X Pony, Horn Girl, Ox Lady, basically somebody's fetish that they put in the movie, and it's just probably related to Pony. And she's like this because America. This though is not for me, pretty sure she's just an extra, so I'm not gonna put too much into this. Other than if you really want All Might to be the American superhero, you'd have the overly American wife to really just sell the deal. All right, next up, we got Deku X his copycat. Perfect time to take a break. All right, this is basically gonna be just the Deku Power Hour and Bakugo Power Hour, essentially. All right, first up, Deku and his other me. These two, nah bro, just quickly, they're not giving much. We barely know this guy, so outside of the fact that they are similar, that's about it. This is not Kirishima and Tetsu at all. They just kind of look alike in this case. They exist, they're gone. They're both, of course, better with Bakugo. Next up, Deku x Shinzo. This works. I really enjoy the dynamic between Deku and Shinzo. It feels like the more wholesome rivalry we can get outside of like the other more toxic one. Shinzo aspires to be a hero, Deku also is the same. They both have their own ways of trying to become one. Deku he got to be the chosen one because he met All Might, which is amazing. While Shinzo is like, okay, I have a quirk that's pretty cool, but it's not combat based. So he also has to use his head to kind of get into the hero game to kind of get the respect and notoriety that he wants. This is fun. There's a similarity to where they've been. The moments with Shinzo are often connected to like Deku, like learning more about his quirk and the mystery of like, okay, the deal with One for All. It's there, and also like, okay, that's interesting. Shinzo was so excited for this grand return. We were so happy to have this guest star finally return to the show. It was good. It was fun. And they kind of just don't do anything after that. I enjoy it. It's good. Okay, I'll give Deku and Diet Eraserhead 7 out of 10. All right, Deku x Muscle. Okay, Bakugo x Uraraka. This is weirdly fun to me. Part of this is the fact that Uraraka, her fight with Bakugo, how even though everyone else assumed like, oh no, this poor girl going against this violent thug, which kind of true, Bakugo still gave her the respect of going all out against her. It is probably one of the hypest moments Uraraka has just in general. So the fact that we have a little bit of this, that we see a little bit of them dancing in the movie, which is the one clip that I've seen, I genuinely fuck with it. It's fun, it's entertaining, because there is something to the fact that, well, get into my complaints about that other ship later, but for Bakugo and Uraraka, it is a fun case where you're allowed to have them be kind of exactly as they are, changed a little, and still have the relationship fully work. Bakugo does not need to stop being an asshole just because he's dating Uraraka. She can still be her nice, slightly... Yeah, I don't really know why I fuck with this one so much. This is something that I definitely have to save in my scripting phase, but alright it goes. Alright, next up, Bakugo x Todoroki. It exists. Again, Todoroki's whole thing is basically consumed by his family. We have a brief instance of like, okay, this could be something of Bakugo obsessing over Todoroki and not getting his win because Todoroki like didn't go all out against him, incensing him. But after that, it's like the idea of the three musketeers, the big three, always felt like more branding than an actual full relationship where these three actually knew each other. It's always no, it's the Deku Bakugo show with Todoroki doing a very important side quest. When it comes to them pushing each other and drive them to go forward harder, we basically get the one Endeavor internship and it's like, okay, all right. I don't need them together though. To me, this is just like, honestly, not for me. I just cannot bring myself to like, oh no, Todoroki doesn't just grip me for most couples, honestly. So him being paired with Bakugo, again, process of elimination. I like them enough individually. As a couple, it's more interesting with Deku. Todoroki is like, not really rising to the bait. He can be intense, but for Bakugo's intense, you either have to subvert what he's giving, or like find a way to really help fuel it. And for Bakugo, it's basically self-perpetuating. Todoroki could just be himself, don't have to be dating, and they would still be just as aggro for each other as they've always been. That's just kind of the vibe I get, so it's whatever. Not for me. Next up, Bakugo x Camie. It's fine. This contest here because we need some women to pair Bakugo with. Honestly, this is another not for me. All right, next one. Bakugo x Kirishima. Let me double check one thing. I think I might be missing a very important ship. There's a lot. I'm not surprised I missed some. Oh yeah, that guy. Is he even in here? Mifuri Masashiro, the tail guy. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense. Ooh, crisis averted, guys. So we just get these over first. No one was that excited to talk about Bakugo and Kirishima anyway, I'm sure. Kaminari x Momo, the ship you really wanted me. This one is not for me. Honestly, now, it's See the Vision. It's idiot versus business wife. He is going to be a house husband pretty much in every relationship he is in. He's fine, Kaminari specifically. Big chat noir guy, essentially. But for me, she helped him study. That's kind of about it. I can see there being a strong pitch for this. I'm just saying, I think it's fine. I think it could be good, but I'm not like a sweat over it. Moving on, Kaminari x Kirishima. Okay, it's good. It's about See the Vision. They're good friends, good pals. Not the best pals or the best friends, but they're a good duo when they're together. They have a great color combination going on. And yeah, it's fine. Kaminari x Minetta. Who cares? All right, Kaminari x Jiro. Literally one of the other like great ships that is absolutely canon. And is basically the whole reason these two are essentially in the show for most of the long stretches we go between the two. Kaminari, again, golden retriever to Jiro's black cattiness. It's very fun, very entertaining, and in a show that's like, okay, we have these big relationships, they're fine. Having like a little one where it's like, okay, this is fun, it's cute. It does feel like a true teenage relationship where it's like, someone fully doesn't fuck with them initially, but it's like, oh, now he's fine. They actually have common interests. They're both obsessed with music. It kind of feels like an inevitability that you have so many more interesting things going on. It's not at the forefront that, yeah, I'm happy whenever we get like a little bit of evidence that it's moving forward, as I think it's all right.
Thanks for all your help.
Tail Guy in Shinzo is very fun. Out of all the ships that Shinzo has, it's like semi, like a little bit of room here to grow. Shinzo and Tail Guy, I'll look up his name eventually. They both essentially have the one thing that Shinzo initially controlled him, tricked him into being on his team, leading the Tail Guy to then have to warn Deku about the actual powers here. It's a fun combo. It gives just a little bit of intrigue and a little bit of like a small rivalry, like, oh, you got me that one time, I'm gonna get you back, in like a fun, positive way, not a full, oh, this is some villain shit. And it gives just a little bit of edge to what could be like, okay, another student interacting with Shinzo who like, we love him. 101A wants him to be on their team essentially. No one has any bad thoughts about the guy. He's just, cool, we would love to have you here. Tail Guy, Karate Tail, the blonde can just be the one guy who's like, you know, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with you. Yeah, you're here. Yeah, let's spar a little bit and just have a little bit of a minor rivalry form that just adds a little bit more flavor than what a lot of other people are offering. Okay, got it. See the Vision. Tail Guy x Toru. Invisible Girl.
But why?
Not for me. Okay, the actual one. Bakugo x Kirishima. Yeah, it's good. Real good.
Perfection.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite ships in the show. Kirishima x Bakugo. I feel like it is interesting how it starts versus like what you're told about it like later versus like what is presented. As initially, you really do think that Kirishima he feels so goon-coded initially. He just seems like he's gonna be another one of Bakugo's lackeys like he initially had at his old school. But then it's like, oh no, Kirishima's still here. He's not taking any of Bakugo's shit seriously. He's like making an effort to be around him, which is more than literally anyone else can say. It's a fun little quirk to the character, or fun little like, okay, no, you can see why they're kind of hanging out because Kirishima can put up with it. But you also don't ever think like, oh, they're real friends. we have the full moment where Deku, I'll never forget it, Deku said, Kirishima, only you can reach out to save Bakugo because you're the only one who stood by him as an equal. You've been like his true friend, so he won't do it with me, but he'll do it for you. I remember thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Legit, I watched, reread that series, read the chapter, reread a lot of the interactions. I was like, that's technically right. Not sure that's fully what comes through, but it doesn't feel like, oh, true friends. He straight up doesn't even remember his name, I don't think. But Kirishima is the one who is most by Bakugo. You thought like, okay, it could just be another like minion situation. It doesn't feel like Bakugo puts that much stock into this friendship. It's only in hindsight and this exact moment where they're like, you know, that was actually emotionally relevant in some ways. Bakugo kind of values you. And I was like, did he? Did he really? But after the fact, after that initial weirdness, the other interactions we get between the two, just the ways Kirishima consistently supports Bakugo and just being, hey, I'm the guy, we're a team, we've had our fights, I straight up lost you that one time. You really do get to love just the dynamic that's built up between them. Bakugo is still taking shit for granted, but Kirishima is also this guy who aspires and tries so hard to like keep getting better, that having this rivalry I think really flows and works really well. As well with Deku, there's so much personal beef issues and abuse that is tied up into having them hook up, that going to Kirishima is kind of then like the soft, less problematic version. You can have Bakugo have this rivalry romance without all the red flags. Kirishima and his obsession with manliness is just an interesting, not a foil, but like an interesting counter to just the narcissism and just, I'm going to be the best, this self-reassurance that Bakugo has, that is kind of an obsession, but they kind of fit semi-well together, but one's the more healthy version versus the more clearly this could be a problem version. Yeah, this is definitely top tier to me, and I think yeah, it's still great, still good. Even if it becomes less relevant down the line, it is still a blast to think about and theorize. All right, next up we got Bakugo and Tsuyu. These two are fine. I think the thing that makes me semi-enjoy them more than some of the other girls that could be with Bakugo is that Tsu versus the other girls does have an actual moment of like making fun of Bakugo. When they're on the bus, she's like, yeah, this guy, he kinda sucks. Which after being just the terror that he was, having other kids kind of make fun of Bakugo, kind of just like give his ego a little bit of a check. It's such a good little moment to show like the new status quo that Bakugo has found himself in. So then also makes it good when we try to like pair them up as a couple, as Tsu is like, Kirishima feeds into what Bakugo is already doing. Tsu feels like she'll flow with it, but she's also not going to put up like some of the worst excesses that we see from him. She's not going to be sitting there as he completely starts trashing their place, and she won't like stop him. It'll be like, you're causing a mess, then leave. I'm not seeing anything amazing, but I think it'd be fun. Honestly, I'll be nice and give this a 7 out of 10. All right, after that we got Bakugo x Kaminari. Yeah, I did have to think about which name for a second. I'm a little broken like that. But these two, again, Kirishima, but worse. Kaminari can be a little bit fun as he is such an idiot. He goes brain dead when he overuses his quirk. Bakugo was willing to exploit that for comedy to cheer up everybody. But it's not anything like I'm really sinking my teeth into. Compared to how I'm gonna rank some of these other ships higher, I feel like I just gotta put this at not for me and just move on. Okay. Next up, Bakugo x Momo.
This sucks.
Not for me. I don't think I have anything negative to say, but I just don't have the full pitch ready for you to explain why this couple over everyone else. Bakugo x Iida, I don't think I like as much as some of the other Iida ships, but I do think it's still mostly fine. Bakugo explosive as ever. Iida is one of the few kids who's like, hey, Bakugo, cut some of this shit out. Most other people just kind of roll with Bakugo's crazy. Iida's one of the few people who's like, hey, maybe don't put your shoes on the table. And then you actually start tying to like the more serious situations, which There are some, but it's not, I don't know why, but this like the one ship I was like, I like it, but I'm kind of drawing a full blank. I'm gonna do See the Vision, Save Myself the Trouble. Bakugo X Shinzo is actually pretty fun. It's kind of like Tail Guy, but with a little more zest. I also don't really feel like it gets so quickly moved on to Deku, just the rivalry angle when it's initially presented as Shinzo versus Bakugo to a certain extent. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do See the Vision for this one as well. Bakugo X Tetsu 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 is basically just Tetsu. Pretty much what if Kirishima died and Bakugo needed a replacement. Like, I'm not saying it's a good idea, but we need to justify this not being Kirishima somehow. And that's kind of about it. So, I don't know. See the Vision vaguely. Bakugo X Jiro, it's fine, not for me, as it exists. It's missing like one character moment to really make the whole thing shine. As is, you're basically bringing your own. You have the punk girl versus the massive explosive temper. They both could be in a band, which would be a fun angle. But again, so many other bandmates they could be doing this with. All right, Bakugo X Mina, not for me. All right, Bakugo X Shigaraki. Now, you can kind of do this as a villain couple, have a little bit of fun with it, because essentially, Shigaraki thought Bakugo was Sasuke. He thought this was like somebody he could turn and make into a villain, except Bakugo is absolutely not that. So, it's a fun thing of like, oh, what could have been? As Shigaraki quickly turns his attention back onto Deku, therefore it's like, we don't get that full fucking crazy, that full rivalry. It's almost always an assist to what Deku is already doing. So it's fine, but it's not everything that it could be. See the vision? Okay, Bakugo X Burnin'. A whole ass other grown woman that people occasionally ship Bakugo with. Okay, that happened. Sero and Bakugo. Literally nothing to say. Bakugo X, the fucking grasshopper guy. I think I specifically put him in here just to again make the point of there are too many fucking characters in this show. As yeah, they're both aggressive. One guy explodes things, the other one slashes. Like they're kind of alike. You can kind of see someone shipping them, but this is all hypothetical. I've never seen someone actually ship these two, even though it did pop up in the wiki, I believe. So I'm just doing, nah bro, because it's so down under there that I struggle to find stuff. All right, Bakugo X Toga share no screen time. Not for me, somebody's gonna write that fanfiction. Bakugo X the Lizard Girl. God, he has so many people. Bakugo X Toru. Why did I even put this on this list? Nothing to say, nah bro. I think that as a couple, they're fine. Main hero, main girl. Eventually it's gonna happen. And the fact that it is like the eventuality of it. Yes, there's explicit hints to this being a thing, but for how great I feel like Uraraka started, from how much personality she had, from the uniqueness to what felt like them trying to recontextualize / reinvent the wheel, like supporting female character and her role in the story and have it be actually good. Well, definitely more effort than some other examples of this. This still isn't like anything that ever wowed me. It's like, oh, it's happening. It's like, yeah, about time. I don't hate it, the couple. I kind of hate how Uraraka is kind of trapped doing it and how everything she does is always put back to Deku when it could be more broader to everyone else, but it's always like, oh no, him specific, but it's whatever. It's fine. It's a 7 out of 10. I'm done with it. Deku X All Might. Deku X Eraserhead.
Squash perps on their heads, they won't know why they're dead.
Alright, next up we got Deku X Iida. Again, this could have been so much greater than it was if they got more focus, but I love the sense of debt that Iida feels for Deku, the sense of protectiveness, that he works so hard to make sure that his friends are okay, and that responsibility really feels like it's on his shoulders, as so many other people are not stepping in to stop Deku's bullshit as much as they maybe should. This, I think, works, but it's not anything particularly special. I think this is See the Vision. Now, Deku x Froppy is so funny to me. As if you had ranked this ship on season 1, might be alright or top tier, as people were obsessed with her. And by proxy, Deku would have gone dragged along with her. But time has moved on, other ships have appeared, and Froppy's been given less. A lot less. But she's still here, which is more than some people can say. So this ship, I think, I'm gonna do 7 out of 10. I like their green color palette. I think it could be cute. Not a thing that like excites, but I do think it's good. And based on the historicalness of like what they previously were, that was so much fan art, I think it's good and deserves that high enough ranking. All right, next up is a throuple of Deku, Toga, and Uraraka.
Every day we stray further from God.
Not for me. Okay, Deku x Jiro.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
So like solidly, how much do these two actually interact in the series? So outside of the festival, these two kind of have nothing. They kind of have nothing as far as interactions go. That is like, okay, super pertinent, emotional, or has a little bit of like, okay, this makes what they have special. I think it's fine, but this is just See the Vision. There's nothing bad. I'm not knocking it, but it is like, Deku's the main character. He is the self-insert for a lot of the young men reading this. So by proxy, he is going to get shipped with everyone. And whatever girl they want is going to be the one they ship him with. It happens. Kind of like Deku versus Shigaraki. Or with Shigaraki. Ex-Shigaraki. Deku x Shigaraki is fine. It's not the hyper like villain hero rivalry. It's fine for what it ended up being. I could absolutely go to bat for this, if not for the fact that All For One is hijacking the plot. I think Deku and Shigaraki, it's fine. Like, I can totally see myself loving this in a different light, different angle, something that a fan would really take it and make it into something good or fun, like a new context, new spin. Make it a high school, actually, and not Shigaraki's fucking 20. No, it's just whatever, especially with how it all ends. Deku is the hero, he cares about saving everyone, and I love the justification for how things go. Like, they really waste so many chapters saying, I'm gonna save him, and still end up with his death anyway. Like, that with the villains just drives me up a wall. But it's fine. I can see the vision. Deku x Momo.
This bores me.
Not for me. Deku x Mirio. 100% for me. Mirio's just such a fun character. He's that big brother, mentor, slash the slightly older, bigger friend that'll drag you along on adventures and just light up the world for just being there. Mirio is great. He's great with his relationship with Deku, even though he does like get sidelined later down the road, only to suddenly pop out of them. But Deku, yeah, I can see this. I can like this. It's just a kind of case of like, okay, what is the unique spin outside of that kind of protective early relationship? As everything about it, yeah, Mirio Sun Eater is still going to be better. The thirst is real for Mirio, but I don't think it's anything that I can't get better someplace else. Just 7 out of 10, I think. All right, Deku x Todoroki. Again, I'm just doing this all off the cuff. I'm thinking about like, where I would like to place this right here, right now, on the spot. I feel like historically I have done Todoroki a little bit dirty in the shipping department. That said, I don't feel like ranking this one very high. This is another insert one where it's like, yeah, if you like Todoroki, you can definitely like use Deku to like canonically get with him in story, just the AU that you want. But outside like the massive moment in the tournament arc, not much is really done to like deepen it in a way that I feel like lends itself well to shipping. For me, I feel like it's fine. If you like Todoroki, you will find other shit to like that you can then use to expand upon. But outside them just being comfortable together, it does not promote excitement. It is just, or intrigue really. It's like, oh, what would they be like? Would it be cute? Would they be having fun together? It's like, it kind of exists. Todoroki does owe Deku so much for helping him like get over this hurdle, this hump. But it's also just like the shonen, just the hero thing. Yes, this means everything to Todoroki, but I've seen that same everything be given in so many other stories. So other heroes have done the great thing, they've pushed through adversity, done the hard thing to do the right by someone else who, even if that other person is attacking them, but outside of that, it kind of leaves the main hook here a little bit stale. So I think this is just gonna be see the vision for me. All right, next up we got Deku x Aoyama. Or I can't stop twinkling. Or is it shining? Twinkling, it's for sure twinkling. Okay, this guy, he's the spy. He's among us. He is the monster. He is the one hiding and causing all the drama, with Deku forgiving him for all that because he is the goodest of boys. He is the protagonist. I get more out of like the rest of the class forgiving Aoyama than basically Deku doing everything that he does. Aoyama comes in clutch, he becomes part of the plan, helps save the day in his own way. They have a cute moment with the cheese thing where you think Aoyama's a fucking stalker or the spy. And while that's a great moment, like, oh, your quirk doesn't fit you just like it doesn't fit me, I like that sense of connection and like helping this kid kind of like go from oddball to like a member of a crew, to find his niche. And I think there's a lot of great value in that, but I don't fully think like these two are like the thing, the vibe, that I am like fully behind it. I think it's good. I think they like apart, but together it's like, okay. Not for me, but I feel like this is not like, okay, I just need one good piece of fan art and I'll be like, oh yeah, I see the vision. All right, next up is Deku x Mei. You know, the girl who's like around him, hustled him, gave him some the babies, and has been helping with his gear the entire time. You can write that fanfic easily, but I also I don't think this one's for me. It's fine, she's entertaining, but she's kind of just entrapped and I already have a very particular taste for that type of character. All right, Deku x Toga.
You have no idea how happy I am! Come here, let's get closer, Zuko!
Now, to keep myself semi-safe, I have to rank this at least below where I put Toga and Uraraka, so I'm just going, nah, bro. Nah. I fully do not care. All right, next up, Deku x Rody, I think that's his name. Basically, the main reason he's here, and I just had to look up the scene because when it was described to me, I thought they were joking. But yeah, I looked it up.
I mean, do you have a quirk? I've been wondering.
It did sound like it was a love confession between these two, and that was just, it set me just on pure hilarity. I'm not like invested in it, but I do see the vision. Deku x Melissa, still haven't seen the movie, so I'm just saying not for me on that alone. Deku x Fumikage. Now this one, like, it is interesting how Deku like picked him out of everyone to be like the attacker of his team. Shows a little bit like, okay, Deku's aware of everyone around him. Even characters like you, the story itself has not been giving that much to. It's good, it's cool. I'm not really shipping them though. There's a lot of heroics being done here. I can see like, okay, no, they're kind of good friends, but romantically, it's just whatever. So another not for me. All right, the Three Musketeers. Now we could say this is a throuple situation, but personally, as it comes to big three, this is kind of bottom of the barrel. Bakugo and Deku, they are their own thing. We're gonna get to that one. Todoroki is off doing his own shit. For marketing, it's amazing. Actual story, it's like, okay, they're here. They're the strong kids, the main characters. Can we get the old squad back because these guys do not fucking care for each other? Like, you get it, they're like rivals and all that. But like as a group, outside the generic, oh, we're training up to get stronger. We care for each other in open ways versus guarded, hostile, but like, yeah, actually, really, this is just, it's there. It's never like the main thing of the story where it's like, okay, we need these three. They'll really come together. No, they're still all doing their own thing. And that leads to it like just existing. So, and based on how much they are prevalent in the marketing and what it came at expense, yeah, bottom of the barrel. I'm sure the fan art is very fun. It just never appealed to me. Deku x Minetta.
We have a 2319!
Honestly, not for me. I gave Minetta a lot of shit, deservedly so. It's whatever. Someone can pick this man up, it's fine. Really, it's here. Doesn't deserve worse, doesn't deserve better. It's just here. Deku x Mina though, fun little good moments with the dancing, her kicking him out of the band. Another case where it's like, okay, they don't have that much like one-on-one time to really like sink our teeth in, but it also is a case like, okay, by that point we're already shipping her with Kirishima, so it's harder to build like that real dynamic that you want to see again and again. So this one is kind of just see the vision, because I'm sure someone can do a lot with this. All right, next up we have Deku x All For One. I love the Deku villain AUs. They are all amazing to me. This ship is not though, very much not that. The idea of him being his dad was also funny for a hot second, but it also did nothing for me. Okay, final one. It's here. Deku and Bakugo. Where on earth could I put these two? Okay, so here's basically the thing. I really appreciate Bakugo as a character, but I kind of still fucking hate his guts and the story's overwhelming love for his character. There is a case, I feel like, in stories where, yeah, I think the writers are doing a really good job with this one person. It's like, no, I feel like the story is a little bit overly proud of itself and just how much it's going like, oh, we're really doing a great job here. We're really building a deep I'm just like, yo, dude, I get it. Please stop, Jujutsu Kaisen fans. Explain this to the My Hero kids and just say it's Sukuna and the author. It's insane the glazing that's going on here. But Bakugo, I think, works. As a character, I personally never fully fuck with him because of his intro, just being an asshole, but I do like his development as he grows up. And I adore his relationship with Deku, even though there are like touch and go moments. I'm like, that's a little weird. You just like that you're trying to make this the lesson, and where in any other context, this behavior would be punished. But all that said, there is still a fascinating just web of dysfunction, damage, and just Deku's unwavering ability to see the best in people and to like find the perfect rival in Bakugo. They are essentially healthy Vegeta and Goku, like after the halfway point of the story. Bakugo is out here trying to give his life on the reg for Deku, for trying to constantly make up for his mistakes. And I think that's good. I enjoy what they are. They are in fact top tier, based purely on like, even if it's not fully my cup of tea, the sheer body of evidence that you have to like justify their existence and their relationship more than justifies that ranking. I think for these two, it is a case of shonen where it is so much attention is being given to like the main two kids, like the rivals, that any other love interest like is in the picture feels tacked on for no homo. Literally, that is it so much of the time. Deku and Bakugo, they're not the main love story, but they are basically the main story for so much of the season and series and so much of their arcs. They are great, and that journey is good. They're good. I'm still not in love with Bakugo, but I understand why the story did such a good job in loving them. But holy fuck, this is over. Thank Christ. Whew. I still need to do a lot of improvements to my setup. I need to kill the echo somehow in this room. And if you guys like this kind of content, let me know, right? Love you all. Peace out. Have a good one. Also, my final ranking for the top tier, worst to best, is Endeavor x Simps, La Brava x Gentle, Mirako x Fat Gum, Deku x Bakugo, Kirishima x Bakugo, Ashido x Kirishima, and my number one, All Might x Inko. They deserve each other, and I can't fucking believe the series ended without bringing Deku's dad into the story once. And they also didn't confirm a single goddamn ship. Horikoshi, you are a brave man. This is the anti-Naruto ending, and I respect the hell out of this level of edging. Until he decided to drop those extra pages and oh my god, this shit is so fun. Yeah, he definitely confirmed some people, and oh, the Uraraka and Toga lovers, I am so sorry for all of you.